Office of the Special Prosecutor invited him in the course of the week. He went. He raised some preliminary objections about the sitting and all of that. He is to appear before them again. We don't know when. But he says it's not under investigation. He was only called to provide information on some allegation he made. We'll see how those things pass. But we'll discuss all of that this morning here on the big issue. As I said, your comments are live. Comments are welcome because the show is live and it is interactive. I will take a short break. I'll return, provide you some updates, introduce my guest, of course, and then we'll get a discussion underway. Once again, this is The Big Issue. You're welcome.
This Christmas Eve, skip the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. Welcome to the Situation All White Party 2025, where the music never stops, the energy never drops, and the fun never ends. Celebrating grand style with great music, irresistible food, and an atmosphere that screams good vibes only. Date 24th December 2025. Venue Good Park near the Accra Mall. Time 8 p.m. till late. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. Get ready for electrifying live performances from Kofi Kinata, Perez Music, Chin Chin Band, and DJ Mingle. Wear your best all-white fit, bring your dancing shoes, and let's light up the night together. Book your tables now. Call 0205-973-973. It's Christmas Eve. Don't miss it. Situation All White Party 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM, and it's proudly sponsored by EcoBank, Bethel Logistics, and Hallmark Cafe.
Ghana, get ready! AgriFair 2025 is gonna be extraordinary this November. Fresh farm produce, fish, poultry, and livestock producers, this is your moment. Join us from Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November 2025 at the Ifo Sutherland Children's Park from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Come get your fresh produce, livestock, aquaculture, agro inputs, machinery, and innovative agri-tech solutions. Plus, don't miss our AgriFair clinics on snail farming, poultry farming, fish farming, and piggery. Call to register, but hurry. Registration closes on Friday the 21st of November 2025. Expect seasoned kebabs, farm-to-table deals, and a buzzing farmers market experience. Call 0558-973-973 to book a stand right now and also to register for the clinics.
I like pork, so I will take pork. The protein ratio is 11.5.
AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation.
I must commend City FM and Channel 1 TV for putting this together. My only wish is that it's done, twice a month, 3 times a month.
I will say the fair has taken us beyond what we even imagined.
Really?
It has exposed us to the people of Accra.
The AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Horticulture Business Platform, Development Bank Ghana, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Gersal, Ghana Exim Bank, and Agri Impact.
You're welcome back. This is The Big Issue on 97.3 City FM, and we are live also on Channel 1 television. 2 key issues we are looking at. One, the issue about the acquisition of presidential jets or retooling the Ghana Armed Forces. We understand that the old presidential jet is not in good shape. It just returned from maintenance. But what is really the argument? Are we in a good place economically to buy presidential jets, or is it a necessity to do so? We will look at the merits and demerits of those arguments. Also, the Office of the Special Prosecutor and Kenneth Furiata, that matter doesn't appear to be going away. This week, the Interpol, which before had a red alert or a red notice on Kenneth Furiata, is blocked, removed, or redacted that red notice. And there's been a lot of talk around that. Is it because he's been politically persecuted, which is one of the reasons why the Interpol will not place a red notice on anybody? That perhaps appears to be the argument of Kenneth Furiata's lawyers to Interpol. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor was asked to respond. We understand they have responded, and a few things will happen from there. So the coming week and the weeks after will be interesting in respect of this Kenneth Furiata and OSP matter. The Attorney General is in the mix of all of that. There appears to be some interesting developments or mistrust between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Office of the Attorney General. We'll look at all of that generally. But in the meantime, the minority in Parliament has slammed the government's proposal to spend some $1.2 billion on presidential jets and 4 helicopters over the next 4 years, arguing that the funds could be better spent on pressing issues like teacher recruitment, nurses' salaries, road contractor payments, and addressing food shortages. Yes, former Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwu speaking on the floor of Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, they insulted the former president, insulted my good self. Some of them, led by the foreign minister, became experts in aviation overnight. Mr. Speaker, today you have come and under paragraph 1091, you say you want to buy 1 long-range aircraft and 1 medium-range aircraft. Mr. Speaker, even them to accept the fact that they are intending to buy VIP and executive jets, they are running away from it. Mr. Speaker, we have 2 types of aircraft that are controlled and operated by the military. The first is the executive aircraft, Mr. Speaker, and the second is the military aircraft. Mr. Speaker, a medium-range military aircraft includes Casa
Honorable
295.
Gapper, please.
And
Honorable members, let's listen to each other in silence.
And then C-90. Mr. Speaker, I will lay that so that they can read for their own pleasure. Mr. Speaker, the military of Ghana already has 3 medium-sized range aircraft, the military one. Mr. Speaker, for the long-range aircraft, Mr. Speaker, it includes heavy bombers like B-2, large transport aircraft. I also lay this so that you can read for your own. Mr. Speaker, it only leaves Ghana. Ghana does not need and cannot operate, and no African country operates a long-range military aircraft. It only leaves us with one option, what we call the VIP aircraft. Mr. Speaker, this is how the VIP aircraft looks like. What in Ghana here we call presidential aircraft. This is how it looks like. And you intend to buy 2 of them. Mr. Speaker, this is how they look like. This is how they look like. And Mr. Speaker, this is what they want to buy. And I'll put it for the pleasure of members. Mr. Speaker, I say this, I cannot, and let me repeat, I can never be against the purchase and retool of the military. Never. After 8 years, I will never be against it. In fact, I was here to fight for the military to get aircraft. I will never and can never be against it. But you on the opposite side, you need to explain to the people of Ghana why for 5 years you fought against it. 9 months later, you are running to buy not one, but two.
What is the...
Mr. Speaker, you need to do that and possibly apologize to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, let me be very frank. If you have 9 billion, if you check the budget this year, 2025, you check the commitment that they are putting in the budget for 2026 this year, that's next year, 2027 and 2028, the total budget is 9 billion Ghana cedi. This one. Mr. Speaker, that is what is being committed to retool the Ghana Air Force. Mr. Speaker, if you have 9 billion Ghana cedi in 3 years to spend on the Ghana Air Force, go first like we did and procure one fighter jet.
Well, that's Dominic Nitu, former defense minister. He obviously has a lot of information about presidential aircraft or jets and retooling of the military. Of course, he's been with them for 8 years. Now, the member of parliament for Domongo and the minority spokesperson or ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Honorable Abu Jinapo, also had cause to speak on the same matter of the presidential jet. Let's hear him.
Is it a good way of spending our taxes? Is it a prudent step to take in the circumstances we find ourselves in our country, where nurses are agitating for recruitment, where farmers are having a raw and bad deal across the length and breadth of our country, in the farming enclaves of our country, where rice is rotting in warehouses, where maize is not being purchased, and everybody is feeling very tight in terms of circulation of money in our country? Is this supposed to be the priority of our government?
Well, Abu Jinapo, they're asking the questions. Now, the government has defended its plan to procure the aircraft, the 6 aircraft, including which comprises 2 presidential jets, saying the cost will be less than what former President Akufo-Addo spent on renting what he termed luxury jets. Debating the 2026 budget, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyakuampim assured that the government will be prudent in the purchase.
Seen the former Minister for Defense on his feet, and he spoke about retooling of the military. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to be sure whether he was against the retooling of the military or not. But he chose his words and said that he's not against it, and I'm happy that he's not against it. But the information I'm getting from the military, the place you led, headed for 8 years, is that the 3 aircrafts that you spoke about, only 1 is functional as we speak. Only 1 is flying.
You let it rot.
Many years ago, no, not many, recently, you said they were not fit for purpose.
You let it rot.
And you justified why the president will rent commercial, will rent jet and bus in the air. You did that here. Today, because your sitting position has changed, you are singing from a different hymn. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader indicated that you get the details, the specs for all these equipment that we are buying for the military. We will interrogate them here. And I will tell you that the cost of 1 aircraft will be far less than the amount you spend for President Akufo-Addo to rent luxurious aircrafts and fly around this country. Mr. Speaker, you see, we in this government are trying very hard to fix the many mess that we inherited from our predecessors.
All right, so you heard the Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Nyakuampim, they're providing some, answers to the questions raised. Now, I mean, for this morning we have a number of guests. First, Nana Akwesi-Iwua is a former managing director of the Precious Mineral Marketing Company, and of course, a member of the MPP. Professor Kwesi Ajekum, who is an air accident investigator. Richard Kumado is a security consultant. Justice Abdullah is a private legal practitioner. Nick Papo Samoado is a member of the NDC communications team, and of course is a private legal practitioner. And Franklin Kujo, president of Imani Africa. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Nana Kwesi, I need to disclose. And Nana used to be my neighbor until he got your time. Was it a green letter? It wasn't a green letter until he got what we now call a green letter to go ahead the Precious Mineral Marketing Company, which today has become the Gold Board. Good to see you after a long while.
Indeed.
Yes, you've been following the budget, you've been following the discussions on the push for new presidential jets, etc. What's your general view on acquiring or retooling the military in terms of acquiring jets for them and by extension for use by the president, what we call presidential jets?
Very well. Thank you, Salom, for the opportunity. And in your introduction, you mentioned certain things, but I wish to add that I am also a private legal practitioner.
Of course, you're a private legal
exactly,
practitioner. Apologies. He's a private legal practitioner.
Since I left public service, I've gone back to private practice as a lawyer. I wish to take the opportunity to say a very good morning to all the viewers and all the listeners who have tuned in, particularly to this show to listen to us discuss these two issues. The first being the issue about the push by the government to acquire these aircraft by way of retooling the military. So I think that in its purest form, it is good. The thinking, the rationale behind it is good. If you look at the situation we find ourselves in Ghana, especially the fact that within the sub-region, all the things, the security things that are happening, our neighbors, our cousins in Nigeria, today you hear about the rise of militant groups, terrorists attacking people up north in Nigeria, kidnapping children and all of that. And these are volatile security situations that could spill over to the country. So as far as retooling the military is concerned, yes, it is good. And so, but we need to go into the details of what the retooling is about. If you look at the budget, the 2026 budget that the Honorable Finance Minister presented to Parliament, particularly paragraph 1091, you would find that the Honorable Finance Minister communicates to Parliament that government intends to acquire these aircraft, and in total there are 6. 4 of them are essentially military aircraft. The additional 2 are what will be for the executive, which is presidential jets. So it will be for the executive. One of them being a long-range presidential jet, which means that it is able to travel very long distances, and then one being a short-range one, which will travel very short distances. And so I would presume that the long-range will be doing distances, for instance, between Accra and New York and China, all of that. And then for the short-range or medium-range, you are looking at Accra, Dakar, or Accra, Lagos, and all of that. Now, question is, the number one question that is on the minds of all Ghanaians is that not long ago, the previous government under the MPP came into Parliament and then informed Parliament that this was the state of the presidential jets and this was the state of the military aircraft, and requested for approval to be able to purchase them. The NDC, which is now in government, vehemently opposed the acquisition of these aircraft, including a new presidential aircraft or jet. The MPP at the time proposed the purchase of 1 presidential jet to replace the old one, One, how is it then that today, 9 months or so into government, we have this new government proposing the purchase of 2 presidential, not 1, 2. Now, when you put all of these together, it is coming at a whopping cost of 13.1 billion cedis. 13.1 billion Ghana cedis. You see, Salom, before I came, I had opportunity to do an analysis of the resource allocations as far as the budget was concerned, the 2026 budget. And if you look at the various agencies and ministries and what the allocations are, of all of them, for instance, Parliament of Ghana, the allocation is 1.6 billion, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 1.6 billion, Ministry of Finance, 4.6 billion. You go on and on and on. Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, 428 million. You have Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, 844 million. Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, 255 million. And on and on and on. When you go through, you would find that apart from the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health, which is allocated 39.2 billion and 22.8 billion respectively, this allocation for the purchase of the aircraft, which is at 13.1 billion, is highest amongst all of them.
The 13.1 billion
yes.
covers what? The 6?
The 6 aircrafts.
Okay, to be spread over what period?
Over 4 years. Because according to them, when the procurement process is concluded in 2026, the delivery will happen in 4 years.
So what does it mean? That we make all the payments in one budget year, or there's a plan to spread this 13.1 billion over the 4-year period?
There is a plan to spread it.
So when we're
but
doing the
we
analysis,
don't know, hold on, we don't know the fine terms of the agreement yet,
so
because the procurement process has not even been initiated. The agreement process, we haven't reached there.
But
the point is this. The point is this. The fact that government has been able to allocate 13.1 billion tells you that they have a fair idea of what the prices of those aircrafts are. And so it means that they have made provision to spend that amount of money. But Salom, you ask yourself, recently we saw teachers who went on demonstration. We have also seen nurses who have gone on demonstration. We've seen doctors or those within the health services who are clamoring for better conditions of service. And we want to spend this amount of money for the executive only, particularly the office of the president. It begs the question, where lies our priorities? Or where lies the priorities of this government? And so I would say that you ask the question, what has changed over the period? Or what has actually even happened to the presidential jet, the current one, which the Deputy Defense Minister has come to inform Parliament that it is almost done with repairs and that it will be back to the country soon. Why can't we continue to use that presidential jet? What has changed? Why do we have to spend that amount of money, 13.1 billion, in order to acquire these jets?
So the late Omane Boama, in speaking at the Government Accountability Series in Accra on Monday, July 21, and I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, titled, the heading is Presidential Jet Heavily Corroded, Still Grounded in France. Omane Boama reviews. He made a point that it is, and I'm quoting him, it is sad to note that for some time now, whenever the presidential jet goes for either maintenance or overhaul, the date that it is scheduled for it to return to Ghana keeps changing. They have extended it by 2 months before, and later 2.5. In this case, as we speak, the aircraft is still not in. We are hoping that the date that has been given will see the Falcon in Ghana. And they said the truth is that the presidential jet is heavily corroded. However, that does not in any way justify hiring or renting luxurious aircraft persistently for presidential use. So I think that the point he is making, or he was making then, is that the jet almost is not fit for purpose. So for example, you send a jet for repairs or for maintenance, they tell you to take 2 months. They come out to tell them, no, we've extended it because there are some serious things we've seen and we want to deal with. And they keep extending it. And somewhere in the story, he said they've given them a new date and he will not reveal that date because the past dates they've given them, have not been met. And so he wouldn't want to keep giving new dates. So they've given them some time. Let's hope that the jet will come in in good time. Then the question is, why don't we deal with this matter decisively once and for all? I recall even right from the time of, Rawlings, Kufuor, and all of that, we've had issues with acquisition of presidential jets. If it is a necessary thing, why don't we acquire a new one, a good one, once and for all, and leave this back and forth? And this, I understand, will come in 4 years' time. Mahama may not be president at the time. Indeed, he will not be president in 4 years' time. Somebody else may use it. It could be MPP, it could be NDC. So why can't we agree as a people that the discussions in the past have not been useful? In Kufuor's time, it happened. I'm not sure Kufuor really got to use it. I think it was Atamils that used it. And now a similar thing is happening. A different president or a different regime may use it. Why don't we have a national conversation to coalesce around this matter, that we need it and so we go for it?
Salom, I put it to you very respectfully that if we were to have a national conversation, we were to, as it were, conduct a poll today and find out from the Ghanaian people whether spending 13.1 billion to acquire these jets is a prudent use of our financial resources, they would vote, or as it were, communicate clearly that no, it is not a prudent use of our financial resource. So I'll give you a classic example. I'll give you an example of my own time at PMMC. When we were at PMMC and I was managing director, the vehicles at PMMC that we were using for our operations were worn out completely. We were spending so much money to repair these vehicles. So much money. Auditors came and then found that, no, the amount of money we are using to repair these vehicles is so much. Why don't you consider buying new vehicles? But at the time, we found ourselves in a situation that, was it prudent? We needed to ask ourselves as management, was it prudent to spend money to buy new vehicles at that particular point in time? Because we were struggling as a company at the time. And we took a decision that no, although those vehicles were going to go to senior management, including myself, we decided that no way, we're not going to spend or commit those resources to acquire new vehicles. Rather, there were critical issues which has to do with staff emoluments, remunerations, things to make sure that there were good working conditions for the staff in order to make the company productive. And by the time I left office, we had been able to turn around the company to a point that they could now be able to buy more than enough of those vehicles. So just opposing that analogy to this one, I say that 13.1 billion to acquire aircraft is better spent, or would be better spent, on engaging these nurses who are always constantly hitting the streets. These teachers who are always constantly hitting the streets. These doctors who are always clamoring for better conditions of service. We should spend that money in those areas instead of acquiring presidential jets for the comfort of the person who holds that office.
But the point is, I just need this clarity, and I've been looking for it. The 13.1 billion, is it going to be paid in one budget cycle?
You and I don't know that for now.
Yes, but I'm saying
the reason, but however, allocation has been made. You and I don't know whether it will be paid, but as far as we are concerned, that money has been allocated. What it means is that
13.1 billion is for the 6 aircraft. Or
Yes.
It's for the 6.
It's for the 6.
So why are we just focusing the 13.1 billion on the 2 presidential jets? That is not.
It forms part of the whole thing.
No, but I'm not sure.
Part of the whole package.
I'm not sure you have a problem with retooling
the military. No,
So what you have problem with is the 2 presidential jets.
Precisely the case.
So if you don't have a problem with the 4, why don't you subtract the 4 from the 6 so you will deal with the cost of the 2?
Well, government has a responsibility to let us know the details of that.
Yeah, but I'm saying that
they have not disclosed the details yet.
I'm calling honorable. Maybe you'll be an honorable soon. Now that I've stepped into the game. I mean, don't we have to come to this discussion with candor and honesty? If 13.1 billion is to be spent on 6 items, why do we make the whole discussion as if the 13.1 billion is just for the 2? And we focus the narrative on the 2, but there are 6.
That is not my doing. That is government's own doing.
No, but you have a responsibility to the public as well.
Hold on. That is not my doing. The first responsibility lies on government to be candid with the Ghanaian people. That out of the 6 aircraft, this is how much this one is costing, this is how much this one is costing, and this is how much these 2 presidential jets are costing.
Yes.
Until then, when the conversation is being had, it is within the context of 13.1 billion to acquire these aircraft.
Yeah, but I'm saying that this is just a budget. It's a broad framework. The details will come soon. And as it is in Parliament, the various ministries will come with their allocations, etc. And that is where the details will be seen. So are we not jumping the gun? Yes, but we see the broad
because
figures.
Government has come to tell you that I am going to spend 13.1 billion. And mind you, based on the budget, there's an appropriations bill that government presents to Parliament.
Yes.
And Parliament will then go ahead to approve. So if government has already made budgetary allocation in the amount of 13.1 billion, I see that ordinarily the appropriations bill that will go in order to seek parliamentary approval for this expenditure will be 13.1 billion. And that is why the conversation needs to be had around that figure.
No, I have no problem with the conversation being held around that figure. But the context is important, and you know that. The context is for 6, not 2. You see, you don't have a problem with the 4. So why don't we reduce, or why don't we focus the discussion on the 2 and question how much of the 13 billion is to be allocated to the 2, which you have problems with?
Government had a duty. The Honorable Minister for Finance had a duty when presenting the budget to identify each aircraft and its price.
In the budget?
In the budget.
The broad framework?
Yes.
But normally, is that how it's done?
As we speak, that has not been indicated. Which is why the conversation we are having and the whole of this country is having has to do with that 13.1 billion. Now, in fact, even if we were to single out the 2, question is it a prudent, or let's even say, for purposes of argument or this discussion, that out of the 13.1, 7.5 or 7 million, or as it were, 6 billion. 6 billion. So let's split it into 2. 6 billion is going for the military retooling aircraft, and then another 6 is going for the 2 presidential jets. Let's ask ourselves that. Now, with these 2 presidential jets, given this figure, is it still a prudent use of Ghana's resources? Why do we need 2 presidential jets? For all these years, there's been 1 presidential jet. What has happened that all of a sudden we need 2 presidential jets? When there are nurses at home, when there are laboratory technicians at home who haven't been employed, when there are doctors who are clamoring for better salaries, when there are teachers who are clamoring for better conditions of service, what is happening? What is happening?
So let me just pause there for a while. I'll come back to you on the other things you have raised. Richard Kumado is a security consultant. He understands a few of these matters, and he's joined us. Richard, good morning. Welcome to the program. You've been, as a security person, you've been following the discussion. When you follow the discussion on presidential jet, and this is not the first time it's coming up, it came up from Rawlins's time to Kufuor's time. We famously heard of the flying coffin and all of that into recent times. What hits you in your training as a security person and you're being a Ghanaian, I mean, how do you put the two together? We always have a problem with acquiring presidential jets, and sometimes we cite the same reasons. What's your thinking around this?
I think it's the usual unproductiveness of our politics. It is the usualness of the policies that do not speak truth. It is the usualness of our politics that divide the country and set the country on the wrong path, that we are always against one another. But for me, if you take away politics, which is unproductive sometimes, and you look at the discussions around what has happened to us recently as a nation, considering where we find ourselves within the West Africa zone, that some countries within the West Africa zone are even spending more than us when it comes to the defense budget or when it comes to equipping the national security infrastructure. I don't think we are getting it right. And that is where my fear is. I don't know for how long we are going to be dragging ourselves to the left, to the right, where the narration is always diluted and nobody wants to speak the truth. So until that is done, it's going to continue forever. And I'm hoping and praying that in my lifetime, we will come to a consensus where common sense will prevail rather than the unproductiveness of our politics.
Yes, but one presidential jet may be easy to defend. Why two?
Yes, so you leave that one for the politicians.
No, I mean, I'm taking your view as a security person. I mean, why should we need two?
When you look at the work of the Ghana Air Force, until 6 of our people died in this country, not many people know that the Ghana Air Force has been under-resourced. Why are they under-resourced? They are under-resourced as compared to the tax assigned to them. And one of the peculiar tasks that they perform is transportation. And who did they transport? They transport almost everybody, from high-profile personalities to middle-level Ghanaians to low-level Ghanaians on various assignments to the length and breadth of our nation. So in that regard, if somebody from the Air Force is making an equipment request, considering the demand on them, which sometimes can throw them out of gear sometimes, they might be asking for 2 executive jets. We have changed the narration in a sense that executive jets usually are not for the president, but they are for the military, for which the presidency and all manner of persons in this country have access to. So people see it as a military equipment, and that is why it takes the military to make those requests. So for a position of security equipment requirement, or equipping the military and the Air Force in that particular, then you will understand why they might be asking for 2 instead of 1. On the other hand, some other people will say, why don't you use 1 and you want to use 2? Then the other narration will be that if you can afford it, why do you want to use 1 and it goes for repairs and it doesn't come? I remember recently the Deputy Defense Minister was in Parliament and he was talking about corrosion, corrosive, corrosion. And you don't want to put your VIP and VVIPs on in times of emergencies on a private man's aircraft when the statutory aircraft has been on repairs and you don't know when it's coming. So to have a backup, somebody might say 2. But there are all other decisions that went into requesting for 2 executive jets for the military will be determined by the actual details in the budget or the appropriation bill, which people will have to debate in Parliament. And when they approve, then you will go for 2. But if we narrate it in the manner we are doing, and we are not saying that the military lacks the appropriate equipment or they would love to have more, even in the case of the Z9 and what the discussions and the findings, then we go back into politics and we are not making an argument that supports the preparedness we want our military to have within the West Africa region.
I see. Nana, I come back to you. I'm looking at the budget. I'm looking at the expenditure allocation on page 196. And I'm not seeing the figures we are looking, unless I'm not checking the right places. So when you look at Ministry of Defense, okay, the total budget for that ministry, which includes all the services, is 13.6 1.94 billion. Okay, and there is feeding. There is we have other things. And when you look at retooling of the Air Force, I see 3.3 billion. Okay, unless I'm not seeing the right things, I see 3.3 billion. So where from all of these big figures we are bandying about, unless it's somewhere else I'm not seeing. Okay. But my casual look at it, and I'm looking at it again, is 3.3 billion. If you can clarify that for me.
So if you look at page 184 of the budget all the way to page 202, you would find that there are several commitments which have been made towards the purchase of this aircraft. So you won't find it at a go. So it takes you to analyze the budget to be able to put these figures together to know that, which is why they said they are not paying everything now, and that they are making these commitments. These are the allocations. So it even goes into the future. So you realize that at page 184, it says that a commitment of 2.6 billion for the year 2026. And then at page 190, it says 3.5 billion for the year 2027.
Page 184.
Yes.
That has the MDA expenditure allocation.
Yes.
Right. And you say a commitment
of 2.6 billion.
Because I don't know if you have the same, but this is Office of Attorney General, Legal Aid. So there's Ministry of Defense here, and the retooling of the Air Force, which I see as 2.6 billion, 2.682 billion. Okay?
Exactly.
And then there is armored personnel carriers. There's construction of forward operating base, Northern Border Security, new barracks, etc. Defense advisory services. All of that. Yes. So you are saying that you are putting all the budgetary
figures,
allocation, the figures
precisely
for the Defense Ministry,
the
or
retooling,
for the Air Force,
yes,
retooling
particularly this retooling
together, and that gives you
13.1
billion. Okay, and we have almost settled around the table that the 13.1 billion is in respect of all the 6.
Yes.
Okay, and not the 2.
Precisely.
And so the discussion perhaps should be focused on the 2.
Yes,
right?
but
okay.
question...
And we've also said that, of course, they said the procurement hasn't been done yet. Or
no.
They're about to do it. And we are...
Indeed,
and
without the appropriations bill being passed,
yes,
they cannot even proceed with that.
Of course. That's how it works. And we're saying that they've actually said, or you have also told us here, that it's possible to go into the future.
Yes.
So it means what? It means that 13.1 billion could be spread across 4 years.
Precisely.
Yeah, so if it could be spread across 4 years, and there are things we need, which will take 4 years or so for us to get, you don't call that prudent management?
Certainly not. Certainly not. Anything can happen within those 4 years.
Which means anything like how?
So I'll give you an example. I recently read a report in which, as we speak now, our country is grounded on gold resources. The fact that we've been able to build gold reserves since the 80s from 8.7 tons, and then from 2022 all the way to January 2025 to about 31 tons. And the fact that our economy is essentially grounded on our gold resources. The report indicates, and though the report lauded Ghana for making great strides in ensuring that we leverage on our gold resources, it indicated that it is possible that in the next 2 to 3 years, gold prices are going to fall drastically. That is what the report said. That in the next 2 to 3 years, gold prices are going to fall drastically. And this won't be the first time it will be happening. This will not be. In fact, historically, gold prices have been at its highest as we speak today, $4,000 per ounce. $4,000 per ounce. Now, the moment gold prices drop, what it means is that the pillar of your economy is going to come crumbling. The pillar of your economy, which is your gold resource, is going to come crumbling down. We pray that it does not get to that point. It is my hope and fervent hope at that that it does not get to that point, that gold prices continue to rise so that this country can earn enough revenue to be able to sustain the economy, to be able to sustain livelihoods in this country, the people's livelihoods in this country. But we need to plan for all eventualities. In the event that gold prices do actually drop, which has happened before, what then happens? Are we still going to be committing?
There's contingency.
Are we still going to be committed? Where is that contingency? Are we still going to be committing 13.1 billion to purchase aircrafts? 13.1 billion to purchase presidential jets? One long range, one medium range?
But you're still okay. But of course, you're a lawyer. You should see the agreement to see what.
We haven't seen it.
Yes, so I'm saying. So when you are talking, you must make room for. You must make room for all of these.
Hold on. At this point, it is a budget. The budget is saying that I'm giving you an indication of how much I am going to spend. So I have put it as part of my plans that I'm going to spend 13.1 billion towards the acquisition of these aircrafts. The appropriations bill has not come. The procurement process has not begun.
But yes, you're making the point. But I'm concerned about how you make the point in a sweeping fashion. For example, in budgetary allocations, we make allocation for roads. There are roads, Fufusu, Sola, and Kohu, which were covered by every budget until recently. The allocations were made, it went through appropriation, but the monies were not expended. And so the projects were not done. All right. So the fact that it is in the budget, is being provided for, does not necessarily mean that this is indeed how much we're going to spend. It's just a budget, like you said. So to base everything on it, to even say, what if something happens in the future? There are agreements that could make room for such things. If this happens, maybe we'll have to extend it. I mean, there are things to be done. But to make it a sweeping statement as if, as it is, there's nothing that can be done with it, and so our hands are tied, we have to go for it, I think it may not be representing the fact as it.
Salom, if somebody comes to you and tells you that I want to do something to you, something bad to you, would you believe the person and make plans accordingly in order to protect yourself? No. I'm making a point here. Hold on. I'm saying that somebody has approached you and said that, look, Salom, I'll do A, B, C, D to you. Would you not plan for that?
Yes, I will.
Certainly. Now, that is exactly what is happening here. Government has come to tell the whole of this country that I am going to spend 13.1 billion. Based on that, as you know how our democracy operates, there is going to be an appropriations bill. That appropriations bill would contain 13.1 billion because that is what has been indicated that government is going to spend. Government will be seeking approval from Parliament for 13.1 billion towards the acquisition of these aircrafts. Once the appropriations bill is passed, it is law. Once the appropriations bill is passed, it is law. What it means is that I have asked you, I have given you approval. I've given you approval to spend 13.1 billion. Then the procurement processes begin. Once the procurement processes begin, what then happens? Monies would have to be committed. So the expenditure of that 13.1 billion will begin.
But the monies will have to be available to be spent.
Question. Those monies which would have been spent or which is going to be spent on these aircraft, why can we not allocate or, as it were, direct those resources towards the employment of teachers, towards the employment of more nurses, towards the employment of more laboratory technicians, towards the amelioration of the conditions of service of teachers and doctors and our service personnel in the security services? Why can't we direct those resources there?
But you see, the other point, I was just, whilst you were talking, I was making a list.
And you see, the question...
Let me go through the list I was making.
The number one lingering question, which remains to be answered, is that, one, why is it that we need 2 presidential jets? That question has not been answered.
When NDC comes, NDC will come.
That question
when it comes,
has not been answered.
When we were speaking, I was making a list. The Jubilee House, okay, the Parliament's chamber, which never saw the light of day, National Cathedral, and many other things, including all of those matters, the presidential jet, everything, the first one. Anytime the country wants to undertake something, we have this view that there are poor people. Teachers are on the street, they've not been paid. We need roads, we need A, we need B, we need C. The same argument was made for the presidential palace, the Jubilee House today. Same argument was made when the National Cathedral construction was about to start. Why go sink all this amount of money in there when we have basic problems? We can't pay teachers, doctors have not been paid, people are on strike for conditions of service, etc. So when are we as a people going to have it clear that, for example, yes, we are doing the roads, and it's not as if at any point in time governments stopped building roads or constructing hospitals. Those things are done. These other things have to be done. The cost of, for example, losing your president is huge. In fact, just strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. The cost of losing a president is huge. And recently, we lost 8 people because of a certain helicopter that crashed. The cost of the nation was huge. The emotional cost alone. Given the events of the recent past, the crash, don't you think that we have to refocus our minds on how we look at such matters of security?
Salom, let me take the opportunity to observe a moment of silence for those who lost their lives.
After you fired them?
I haven't fired them. Now that I am coming to speak to this issue, and I have to make reference to the subject, which is why, because I've been there, I've been in public service, and I know what it feels like and what it means to be waking up at dawn. In fact, you don't sleep. You need to attend to matters of state. And so to lose your life under those circumstances is very disheartening. And so my heart goes out to their families and my deepest condolences to them. But with the greatest of respect and with all sensitivity to the issue, as far as the aircraft, that particular heli that crashed was concerned, the investigative report, I do not recall hearing anything as far as the media stories that I've heard about the report is concerned, that one of the causes of that crash was because the aircraft in question was not fit for purpose. As far as I've heard, they said that the weather. So there was a downdraft, some technical terms which were used, which simply meant that the weather wasn't good. But it did not say that the aircraft was not fit for purpose.
But they also said that the helicopter could have had some navigational tools. So if that's retooling. If, for example, we made allocations in the past for the acquisition of these navigational tools, there were technical terms they used for them. Or maybe if we bought better equipment, which were already fitted.
In that case, in 2021, in 2021, when the former defense minister went to Parliament to talk about these aircraft and the need to retool them, I believe that our friends in government today ought to have listened.
But now we've had an event.
I'm coming.
Okay, and that event
ought to have listened.
Ought to refocus the country.
Let me land.
Pedestrian arguments.
Salom, let me land.
To real issues.
I do not think that the arguments in Parliament were pedestrian.
No, I mean, now we see the argument that perhaps it was important that we did that in the past. We did not do it because of political talk.
But I have mentioned.
And now it has come to bite us, and 8 of our illustrious sons died in the line of duty because the aircraft did not have some basic navigational tools which could have helped.
Salom, I think that I have stated here that I am not against the acquisition of aircraft for the military. I'm not against that. The issue has to do with these presidential jets. 2 of them. Now, you ask yourself, the jet the current presidential jet that is gone for repairs, and the Deputy Defense Minister has told Parliament that these jets are, this presidential jet is coming back after repairs. Has there been any certificate to say that that jet is no longer fit for purpose, and for that matter, it should be discarded? We haven't seen that. Government has not come to tell us anything like that. Have we? I don't know. Perhaps you have heard or seen any such communication from government that there is a certificate from some experts, aviation experts, indicating that that presidential jet was not fit for purpose. But remember, it was this same presidential jet that went for repairs, which caused the then President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to be hiring jets for his travels. And this same MPs in Parliament were those who spoke vehemently against this. So what has changed today? Eight
people have died.
What has changed today?
Great. Now NDC is here. Let me. I've been trying to do that.
He's my senior and a good friend too.
So let's. Yeah. So you're welcome to the program. Thank you. There's been of course, and Richard Kumado is on, security consultant, and a few others will join. The concern is being that the MPP says that they are not in principle opposed to retooling the military. The concern has been the acquisition of 2 presidential jets or executive jets for the president. Why do we need 2? 1 long range, 1 short range. So now the 2, in addition to the one we have now, which we understand has maintenance issues every now and then, will be 3. Why do we need to buy 2 new presidential jets for the president's use?
Good morning to your wonderful listeners and viewers. And the answer lies in the question that you yourself just asked.
The long range and short range.
No, short range. Traditionally, if you've always listened to the ministers of defense, they've always made the point that these jets, number one, are not really meant necessarily for the president alone. We've actually used these jets on peacekeeping missions. We've used them on other for other purposes, you know. And at the heart of it is, number one, at any given time, as a country, do we believe that we need an airworthy aircraft for the use of the executive and other arms of government? The problem for my MPP brothers is the justification and rationale, you understand, that unfortunately the Minister of Defense then gave in Parliament for the reason why President Nana prefers private jets. The answer was that what caused an uproar, that the president needs to take a shower in the air and refreshen up. But that was, you see, the tape.
He didn't say take a shower. He said to freshen up. Anyway,
and then somebody asked him a follow-up question. That does it mean that the president needs to shower in the air? And he said yes. The president, there's no facility. So let's play the tape. See,
no problem.
Let's just I'm coming.
These 2 presidential jets that they
my brother.
Do they have a showering?
Thank you.
I don't know. But
my brother. See,
go ahead.
Would it provide room for freshening up in the air?
No, I don't know.
The problem, I keep saying that, the problem, the MPP had a problem. The problem was the inability of the party to rein in the excesses of President Nana. That was the problem of the
excesses being what? Being
exactly.
on private jets?
That this is a president that had, look, every president has his excesses. It is the ability of the party to rein in those excesses. And every president, naturally, you see, the executive is a powerful position. So if you don't have a party system that can check those excesses, you have especially when you have a president with exotic taste, like former President Rawlings. Everybody knows he's a very simple man. He actually lived in the castle with very little or no frills. When President President Kufuor went to the castle the first time, he couldn't believe that a president could live in such an environment. And he commented, Jacob Ejemilonke, when he went, he said that the castle was not a place fit for any president to live in. And so President Kufuor, at the time, was determined to put up a presidential palace. Our brothers in the MPP have exotic taste. And I think they should admit it, that they have a taste for the flamboyant. So he put up a presidential palace, but never lived in it. And he also
did he put it up for himself?
I'm coming. You have a taste. You have a taste for the flamboyant. So whilst you see an NDC president who ordinarily wouldn't mind living in a very simple, whatever you would call it,
they become the beneficiaries of the exotic taste of the MPP.
Whenever the MPP comes into power, they have a taste
because
for the extraordinary.
They never use the palace.
No, they rarely use this. I'm giving credit. I'm being factual.
Yeah, so they have exotic taste.
I could have been diabolical.
Yeah,
but
they have exotic taste, but exotic taste doesn't benefit them. It benefits the NDC.
No. See, I'm saying that we as a socialist party have a very we've developed and groomed presidents
socialists with taste
with very moderate. So you look at President Rawlings, you look at President Mills, you look at President Mahama, all of them are very down-to-earth people. You rarely see them in suits. President Mahama would not mind going by commercial flight most of the time, going even if it's a long haul. Our people know. Our brothers in the MPP know. They love the exotic. When the NDC wants to retool, we don't retool the armed forces with a taste for our personal benefits. That's always been the difference. The first point is that it is the armed forces that put in the request. Because these aircrafts belong to the what? To the armed forces, the air wing of the armed forces. You understand? They put in the request that, look, they need these categories of aircraft for specific reasons. And these are not things that you buy like toffee or confetti overnight. You need to plan for it. So in retooling for these arms of government, you retool them periodically. And so you plan it and face it out. You need, and that is why for a long time, we had General Achapo giving us the Fokker, which we used for a long time, and then, so at period times, sometimes a span of 10 years or 50 years, you need to retool the what do you call it, the Ghana Armed Forces. And the aircraft belong to the Ghana Armed Forces. It doesn't belong to the president as a person. You understand? So when you have a national debate about it, and I'm happy they realize that this is not for the personal benefit of President John Mahama. Because the president of John Mahama is somebody who goes by commercial aircraft. And so he doesn't have a problem. Unlike them who have presidents who always want the exotic. They want to be able to shower in the air. President Mahama does not need to shower. For any long flights, he prefers to go commercial. That is the standard that we set. We have a moderate government. Government that is even how many ministers as compared to 123 ministers of theirs. So you can't compare the two.
More appointees.
You can't compare the two. That's the first point. This proposal is to retool the Ghana Air Force.
Yes.
You understand? Over a period of maybe 5 to 6 years.
So 4 years.
4 years. So you are bringing in various aircraft. The current aircraft has not been certified for use by the president yet, by the Ghana Air Force. And we can't take the risk. Even God make their souls rest in peace. Our gallant 8 that we lost in the helicopter. Look at the trauma that it has caused all of us.
But the point is, it was not down to the.
I'm coming. But the trauma. No, I'm coming. We have the trauma that it has caused that. The report says that if there's certain other technology had been on board, perhaps certain things would have been made known to the pilots and others. So it tells you that if the loss of these 8 could cause us a trauma, how much more the loss of a president? Just as you asked. So it is not a matter that you gloss over and make it look like we need for you to be able to move your president. And I think that perhaps we don't seem to sometimes understand the significance of. You remember how the country came to a standstill when President Mills, God rest his soul, lost his life, even by natural causes. Our country came to a standstill. So when it comes to presidential travel, taking out the issue of luxury, which is their price concern, as for the MPP, the first issue is about the luxury. The aircraft must be fitted with a shower, among others. For us in the NDC, it is about ensuring that the president.
So this will not be fitted with.
Have you heard the difference?
You don't have to say it.
No, but have you heard? No, but the point is, you compare the two. President.
So one will say it, but one will not say it.
No,
but they will enjoy the same.
No. There's a difference. One is able to
which
go.
Presidential jet does not have that facility?
Please, the one that you currently have does not have a shower.
Which presidential jet
current
today?
one you
Which
have,
modern
no,
presidential
please.
jet
No, but the one we have.
The one that does not have a shower.
I don't have that.
But that is why President Nana. That is why President Nana couldn't use it.
I do not believe that.
The new one will
These
not have
two
it.
presidential jets that
you don't have
propose
but the documents are in the before the thing is this. It is not the preference, and I always want the facts to be there that you have never had an NDC president wishing to be in a jet that has a shower.
But no MPP president ever said that.
Oh.
No, it was a defense minister who said
that. But the defense minister was speaking
for the president.
On behalf of the president.
Please. But sorry, answer the question. We could buy one. We could buy one. We could buy one. So why two? We could buy one.
As you said, one is long haul, one is short haul. It makes a lot, and I keep saying that these jets primarily belong to the Air Force. They use it even for peacekeeping missions, among others.
Presidential jets.
Oh, just you have various use
everything, conference things, showers. And
but
things.
see, hold on. Have you seen the specifications with it? You haven't.
No, we haven't.
You haven't. What I recall when that debate happened in respect of when their defense minister went to Parliament was that those jets are not used for just presidential travels. Go back and look at the justifications he took before Parliament. He said those belong to the.
We understand that.
And they are used for various.
Providing the same justification.
I'm saying that it could be one. We could buy one for long range, or we could buy one for short range.
Yes.
What we have now is for short range.
Yes,
for short range.
We could replace it. When the president is going on long travels, because perhaps we're a poor country, we fly commercial, not private, or not. How did you guys call that? Private jets, not the charter per hour, not that one. Maybe go commercial as we've been going. But if it's for short range, we use a replacement of what we have. That could be a good point to start a discussion to carry everybody along.
So that is why before you do anything, you bring it to Parliament.
Yes.
It is an open debate. Nobody is hiding anything. You understand? We don't go rent a jet, leave it on the tarmac, and I've seen that jet on the tarmac running at $18,000 an hour. That is not the kind of president you have. This is a president who says that when there is an issue, the Minister of Defense has brought the issue up, they will bring the agreement to Parliament, they will have their say. If at the end of the day, the Parliament decides that it is worthy of purchase, they will go ahead and do it. So I want the representatives of the people to have the opportunity to debate the agreement, debate the cost input, debate the value for money. Let the armed forces bring the justification. The Air Force Command will come before the Parliamentary Committee on Defense. They will give justification. They have members on that committee. If they are dissatisfied, as usual, they will hold their press conference, they will bring out the documents, and they will tell the country why we don't need.
And then you have your way.
Oh, it's not about us having our way. No. It's not about.
And then you have your way.
No. It's not about us having our way.
Minority will have their say, but you have your way.
It is about a prudent government who don't hide things from the people. We don't go and rent a jet, not accountable to the Ghanaian. Did President Akufo-Addo bring any agreement before Parliament when he went to rent those jets at $18,000 an hour?
Is it everything?
No, it's a question. No, it's a question. I'm asking a simple question.
But if it doesn't
Did
have
President Nana Addo bring before the Ghanaian Parliament any agreement concerning the $18,000 an hour jet he went to.
Was it a requirement?
Oh,
I'm saying that did he have to?
so when you spend our money,
was it
a mentality?
There's allocation for it.
There was no allocation for it. There was no budget. There was
the office of the government
under the
machinery.
office of government machinery.
For
there
travels.
there was no allocation for the
travels.
renting. There was
No, not renting. It will be stated as renting.
My brother,
It will
there's
be stated as
allocation.
travels.
So you misapply. They
No,
say
it's travel.
oh please. They say travel, thinking that as a prudent
You go
president,
commercial.
you go commercial. Then you use that as a base. So President Mahama cannot say that because you have allocated travel for him, he will go and hire a jet, put it at the tarmac, and use it as he likes. That should tell you the difference in governance. President Mahama is not like them. That's why I keep telling you that their problem is that they think everybody thinks like them. So because there is they hear jets, their mind is there will be shower inside, there will be this. No, that is not the thinking of President Mahama. And clearly, he will make sure that the agreement is brought before Parliament. Everybody will see, Fidi Dagochi, what is inside this deal, how much is going to cost Ghanaians, the cost-benefit analysis, value for money. The military will come and justify it and tell you why it makes more sense for you to purchase these two over time. You understand?
Instead of one.
Let us wait for them to go to Parliament.
I would have thought.
1 minute. This is the big issue on 97.3 City FM. We are on Channel 1 television and also on YouTube and the rest of our socials. The show is live and interactive. You can join us via our WhatsApp line 020-444-7033. That has been displayed on your screen, or 0549-986996. Chris Akume, senior lawyer, says, Solomon, you put the presidential jet issue right when you asked if it was necessary to purchase it now. If necessary, the cost will not be much of an issue. I will only propose one jet purchase instead of two. We can go for the second one later. Also to be considered is whether it is prudent to purchase or continue to rent luxury jets as Akufo-Addo did. My other issue is whether the people of Ghana were consulted when the previous MPP government was renting expensive, luxurious jets. There have been unemployment issues all this while before this country has been visited with massive corruption, which benefited individuals and not the unemployed. That is from Chris Akume. SK Dread says, Richard Kumado has spoken really well with his initial submission. You're asking him cogent and logical questions, that's in reference to Danewa. Okay, and yes, and it says that all MPP's arguments are to criticize the other side, champion their own party's agenda, and quest to look back into power, to loot the state. All right. Yes. So you wanted to make a quick one, Nana, and I want to go to Richard. So make that quick intervention. I go to Richard. Yeah.
My brother indicated that the military, as it were, the Ghana Air Force, will be coming to provide justification. Barcelona, we all understand the budgetary process. Before things appear in the budget, we all know what happens. The various agencies are consulted. They are supposed to have brought the justification for those two presidential jets. So if it is now that they are coming to provide that justification, then it begs, it makes...
But is that not how it's always done?
No,
so what I mean is before the minister
but of defense. And mind you, the current minister of finance is doubling as the minister of defense. And so before the minister of finance, minister of defense would accept these two propositions, because he's making it himself with the point he made that these requisitions came from the military. Now, before he would accept and put these into the budget for presentation to Parliament, he should have been convinced of the reasons provided by the military. Correct. Now, if he's been convinced of the reasons, why is it that he's not telling us? Why have we not been told by government why we need two instead of one? You have hold on. Why have we not been told that the current presidential jet, today, there is a certificate or whatsoever to say that it is not fit for purpose. Have you seen anything like that? No. In the budget presentation, there was no statement made to the effect that the current presidential jet is not fit for purpose. Indeed, the Deputy Defense Minister came to Parliament and rather said that the jet is gone for repairs, they are done, and it will be back to Ghana in good time. So what has changed? What is the rationale for purchasing two?
So let me ask you. So are you against the two entirely, so we go back and use the old one, which has been going for maintenance? Or you think instead of two, we should purchase one for now?
Until we see a certificate saying that the current one is not fit for purpose. And that process should be bipartisan with parliamentary involvement to say that this aircraft that we are repairing and has returned is not fit for purpose. I do not see the reason or the rationale for purchasing two presidential jets.
So two, so it could be one.
It could be one.
It could be one.
It could
so the
be
problem
one.
is with the
but
two.
even for the one, it is contingent upon a certificate by an expert with the involvement of a bipartisan committee from Parliament to agree and accept that indeed.
But why should there be a
one,
bipartisan committee from Parliament agreeing that it is not fit for purpose?
There is a parliamentary
when the experts
committee. So if I say that bipartisan, I'm only referring to the parliamentary select committee on defense.
That's good. But we know how our politics and Parliament work in this country. If an expert, for example, the guys who maintain it, issue a certificate to say, okay, this is not fit for purpose, what's the business of Parliament agreeing or disagreeing? The experts have made their view. You either take it or not. So if the experts are to make that, decision, or they are to come to that conclusion that it's not fit for purpose, why do we need a parliamentary bipartisan buy-in necessarily?
I want to believe that as we speak, the requisition that came were made by experts. Is that not so? And yet we are here having this debate. The requisition that came was made by experts within the military that we need these aircraft. And yet we are here having that debate. The point I'm making is that whatever certificate comes from the expert is not final.
Okay.
We should not take it as it is, on its face value. We need to interrogate, which is why the bipartisan parliamentary select committee on defense would be useful in interrogating that certificate to truly ascertain
I get
indeed
that. It's true. It's not that somebody went to engineer it.
Precisely.
Great, no problem. But the point is, even as private people, if you have a car that goes for repairs, takes 2 months, comes back, goes again, the mechanic tells you that it will take 1 week, but ends up coming back after 3 months, etc. At some point, as a private person, won't you say, okay, can I dispose this off and get another car? Don't we do that as private persons?
Do that, but it is subject to, as a private person, it's
your
subject
economics.
to the economics.
But if
at that point in time you have a leaking roof or you have children's school fees to pay, would you not hold on as a would you not hold on? No, I'm saying at that material point in time
for $70,000.
That is why I chose my words carefully. I said at that material point in time. At this material point in time, we have nurses who are protesting. We have doctors who are clamoring for better conditions of service. Hold on, I'm coming. Better conditions of service. You have teachers who are protesting. You have laboratory technicians who are home and are clamoring to be engaged, employed by government. And you are spending 13.1 billion. You make the argument that it's over 4 years. Fine. But the point I've made to you, the point I've made to you right from the beginning of this show is that based on these budgets, the figures, there is going to be an appropriations bill. So what Parliament will be passing or approving will be for 13.1 billion.
And I'm also suggesting or saying to you that yes, 13.1 billion for 6 aircraft for maybe solely for the military, which you say you have no problem with. And I'm saying that if you have no problem with that, why don't you take the value, which we don't know yet, from the 6, which is 13.1 billion, and focus on criticizing just the two. That's one.
Salom,
and the other point
we
we have
haven't
made
been
also.
told.
The other point we have also made is that appropriation bills are always passed, but not every item in there provided for and passed, which is law.
In that case,
it is subject to the availability of funds.
The credibility of the budget.
Yeah, but it's subject to the availability of funds.
The credibility of the budget, because if in the same budget it says that I'm going to spend X amount of money and that it is going to generate 100,000 jobs.
Yes, and I'm saying that. Result. And you raise the point.
And Ghanaians are supposed to believe that.
You raise the point about something happening. Something could happen. So, for example, gold prices falling, and that will make the economy suffer shocks. So that is subject to something happening. So if something happens, and so we are unable to make the acquisition or payment for the jet, that could be understandable. The projection is that if all other things being equal, and we keep going the rate at which we are going, perhaps we are able to raise the money to do that. That is okay, isn't it?
No.
Even if it's for one.
Even if it's for one, I've already made the point that even if it's for one, it should be contingent upon a certificate indicating that the current one is not fit for purpose.
Very well. Let me talk to, let me again, sorry. So if the current one is for short range, and the other one that you say we may go for is for long range, does it change the situation?
Indeed, it does.
So we could do that. So if assuming this one is passed,
then we must go into the conversation about
why we need a long range.
Precisely.
So if the president is traveling to China, for example, you think he should be on the commercial flight
because it has been happening.
Because it's been happening. It doesn't have to change at any point in our history.
It must change, but subject to. Precisely.
Great. Richard, thanks for holding on and listening. Now you've heard from Ni, the NDC.
Today is Saturday. Oh, bad.
You've been listening to them. I mean, you've heard them now earlier, and then now you've heard Ni. Are you okay with the justification for the two?
Okay, so Salam, let me make this point. You know that Z9, in the report, the very first finding, the actual word they used there was what? Safety. It wasn't technology, safety. And because we didn't want to create fear and panic, we overlook it. But the word they used there was what? Safety. Then in the report, they also said that the Z9 was actually grounded. And they gave it airliftment for 90 days, which was supposed to end on the 18th of August. Then, unfortunately, on the 6th of August, we had an unfortunate incident. If we're going to go this way, by dragging ourselves in the manner we are going on a Saturday morning, you're not going to read through the military. And the third point I also want to make is that because we put in the word executive, it doesn't mean that if we should purchase all the 6 aircraft, the president will only be using the 2. Because the Z9, which had the unfortunate crash, was not the presidential jet. It was an aircraft for the military, the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Air Force. So the other 4 that will come with the executive jet will be used by Ghanaians as usual. Because the Air Force provides transportation services, emergency services, among many other things. We talk about peacekeeping and many other things they do. And for me, whatever we will use and whatever we will find the money, and when the economy is doing well in particular, to read to our military and all the security agencies is the best way to go. When the fire broke out at Kumasi, the Z9, if the fire service had a UAV or a helicopter that can go higher in the air, you would have quenched that fire. The economic loss and the trauma would have been stopped. If all the other security agencies are properly too, we wouldn't be having this discussion. In any case, the last budget that was read before this one, Atufosi increased the military spending by 1.5 billion. And I was saying that it has been a good thing. We should encourage him to increase it again to about 3 billion. So that when you take the other expenditure out, you will have some money left for capital expenditure, which the military in particular needed so much because you live within the territory where you will have a lot of emergencies to deal with. So for me, whether you are buying 2 executive jets or you are buying 8 of other ordinary jets, whatever you would do to retool our security agencies, it shouldn't be a discussion, where there will be so much partisanship in it. No, that is what you have done for all these years, and you have not retooled the security agencies. If this discussion were to be happening in Burkina Faso, nobody will go on Saturday morning and be dragging the issues as it is. Once it serves the national interest, and it is in the interest of the state, which includes everybody, you look for the money and you go for it. So for we as security people who put our lives on the line almost every day for this country, which we have done for the past 2 to 3 decades, it looks a little bit uncomfortable to hear some of the things we are hearing in the media space across the length and breadth of this country. Salom.
But can you blame the MPP now, for example? Because in the past, they also suffered...
No, not the MPP. MPP.
Yeah, I'm just making a point.
As a result of unproductiveness of our
yes,
politics,
but at what point...
MPP politics where they rag it.
At what point should we say enough is enough? Let's stop and now let's begin to think.
This particular point.
At this point.
Tell on this particular point.
After the acquisition of this one, then the next one, we shouldn't politicize it.
No, do you know what we are even trying to say? Salom, if we can acquire this for 4 years, why can't you do it in such a way that considering all the security agencies and the modernization of equipment they need and the urgency of that, if every budget, you can make provision for 2, and every budget or every 4 years we are acquiring 2, then it will become a time where you will go to Ghana Parliament and say you needed 4, you needed 6. That should be another argument we should be looking at, so that almost all our budget, you will have some level of allocations for not just the military, but the police. When you go to the southern part of Africa, the police have their own university. Recently, that President Mahama said they should pass the bill for the National Defense University for the military, which is so core. We have advocated for it for the past 10 years, and thankfully, we are getting that bill. The police need a university, the military need a university, the BNI and all other places need a university, and it goes a long way in aiding your security infrastructure and providing jobs for this country.
I see. Great. Let me take a short break. When I come back, we'll continue. This is The Big Issue on 97.3 City FM. This is Channel 1 Television. We're on YouTube as well. Your comments are welcome via our WhatsApp lines displayed on your screen, 020-444-7033 or 0549-986-996. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244-644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Hey, Ghana. So you people know Miss Brother once more. If you knew, it's your boy. Kill them all, kill them all. But this time, I'm not only killing mosquitoes, I am killing the grades. See? This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the perfect mosquito-free atmosphere. Thank you, Out Insecticide. And yeah, Out Mosquito Pearl. For a mosquito-free atmosphere, trust Out to... You are not serious.
Out Insecticide. So ya boa, faha.
Ghana, get ready! AgriFair 2025 is gonna be extraordinary this November. Fresh farm produce, fish, poultry, and livestock producers, this is your moment. Join us from Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November 2025 at the Ifo Sutherland Children's Park from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Come Come get your fresh produce, livestock, aquaculture, agro inputs, machinery, and innovative agri-tech solutions. Plus, don't miss our agri-fair clinics on snail farming, poultry farming, fish farming, and piggery. Call to register, but hurry. Registration closes on Friday, the 21st of November, 2025. Expect sizzling kebabs, farm-to-table deals, and a buzzing farmers market experience. Call 0558-973-973 to book a stand right now and also to register for the clinics.
I like pork, so I will take pork. The protein ratio is 11.5.
AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation.
I must commend CTFM and Channel 1 TV for putting this together. My only wish is that it's done, twice a month, 3 times a month.
I will say the fair has taken us beyond what we even imagined.
Really?
It has exposed us to the people of Accra.
The AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM and is proudly sponsored by Horticulture Business Platform, Development Bank Ghana, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Gersal, Ghana Exim Bank, and Agri Impact.
You're welcome back. This is The Big Issue. We are live on 97.3 City FM and we are on Channel 1 Television. My guests, Nana Kwesiwa, former Managing Director of the Precious Mineral Marketing Company Limited, which is now the Gold Board. It's a private legal practitioner. Nipapo Samado is a member of the NDC Communications team, also a private legal practitioner. And Richard Kumado, who is a security consultant. We're discussing the push for new presidential aircraft, asking whether it's a misplaced priority or a strategic necessity. Of course, Nanewa thinks that it's a misplaced priority because we have teachers and nurses to pay, and new things that it is strategic necessity. Let me come to you, Nana, again. Like I was trying to say, you will always have roads to construct. You always have the poor to feed. You always have nurses' arrears and salaries and allowances to pay. You will never be done doing these things. So when will be a good time to invest in things like this, the presidential jet?
I think that the best time was when, in 2021, the MPP went to Parliament to request for approval, parliamentary approval to acquire these presidential...
2021, was that a good time just after COVID and the economy was in shambles?
At the time.
2021.
Hold on. There was going to be a commitment. It wasn't going to be acquired at a go, just as this is happening. It was going to be over a period of time.
But in hindsight, would you have called that time a good time? Because
indeed,
it was after and we blame everything we've gone through on COVID and Russia, Ukraine. So
the process, the procurement process was going to begin.
And so in
2021, the procurement process was going to begin. We started getting out of the woods in 2022, 2023. The procurement process was going to begin. And so that would have been the best time.
But would it have been?
But mind you,
would it have been a good time to even have that discussion?
Yes, indeed.
Because you made the analogy that if you have school fees to pay.
Hold on, indeed. Because mind you, during those periods,
when DDEP was about to happen, was happening 2022, 2023, the whole discussion was about survival. Then you go and introduce a discussion about presidential jets.
And it was one to replace the worn-out one. But our friends in the NDC indicated that the jet was in pristine condition and that there was absolutely no need to acquire a new jet at this time. There was absolutely no need to acquire a new jet at this time. So what has changed?
So economically,
just 9 or 10 months down the line, that pristine condition no longer exists.
That was in 2021. So that's 4 years.
Even
down the line.
as recent as 2024, they repeated those same arguments. As recent as 2024, they repeated those same arguments. But Salom, hold on. Recently, the Federation of Labour negotiated with government, and government told them that, look, based on the conditions, we are giving you 9% pay rise. Is that not so? But we have 13.1 billion to spend on aircraft.
On military aircraft.
On aircraft plus presidential jets. 9% salary increment for public sector workers. Because government says there's no money. That they can only accommodate 9%. Yet, government can find the money and allocate 13.1 billion cedis to acquiring military aircraft plus presidential jets.
For a period of 4 years.
Over a period of 4. So, what stopped government from saying that, okay, we would give you 15 or 20%. We'll find the money to service that.
You see, the difference is that the issue of the presidential jets, you depending on the agreement, you could stagger it, or you could put it on hold. But once you make the increment for emoluments or salaries, you have to pay. You can't tell.
Do you know how many?
You can't tell workers that I gave you 10%.
How many benefits? Do you know how many benefits or entitlements of public sector workers are in arrears today? Do you know?
No, but it's cost
hold on.
Have to pay anyway.
When I took over PMMC, there were a lot of them in arrears. By the time I left, I had cleared all of them.
Because of good management.
Precisely the point. I had paid all of them. There was none in arrears. So it's neither here nor there to say that once we commit to giving you this amount. There were some instances, I sat down with the staff, we agreed, okay, we'll give you this, but we'll stagger the payments. Because we are planning, and we hope that we'll get the money to pay. And indeed, we paid. We sat down, and we agreed that, look, these are the books. This is the money there. If you ask us to pay you everything right now, the company will collapse. So hold on, and we'll stagger the payments as we move along.
Very well.
Why can't that happen to public sector workers as well?
Great. No, let me. So you see, the excuse we've been given over the years, palace, presidential palace, national cathedral, everything, is that we could use those monies to feed the poor, to construct roads, to do other things. You know, it's interesting. They are repeating the same arguments you perhaps have taught them.
No moral justification.
No, but that's what you said. So you have no moral justification today to come and be buying something you opposed in the past.
This is a government that has not dug a hole of $98 million.
No, but I'm talking about the jets.
No. But you have a government. Can you imagine, my brother? You had a government who took your taxpayers' money, almost $100 million, and dug a hole. The most expensive hole in the world.
No, but you didn't complete it.
Oh, my brother.
If you had completed it, it wouldn't have been a hole. It would have been something else.
I know you are outraged. It's just that you are the host. You cannot express it.
Don't think for me.
But the point is this, that you know in your heart that nothing upsets you more than the fact that you had a government that took $100 million, dug a hole, you understand? In fact, when it comes to anything on the economy, but for the constitutional oversight responsibility that the opposition plays. This is one opposition.
Which is precisely what we are doing too.
I say
nothing has changed.
Yes.
But for that's why I said but for the fact that our constitution requires the opposition to play an oversight responsibility. This is an opposition that should be banned from anything to do with the finances of our country for a minimum of 60 to 20 years.
Really? Just because they dug a hole? Just because they had a vision to build a house for God? A national cathedral? That had a good rate of returns per the analysis.
$100 million. My brother, you know what $100 million can do for an economy? And they dug a hole, and the hole now is a swimming pool.
Because you have made it a swimming pool.
Oh, my brother.
When your people were demonstrating, they went to swim in there.
$15,000 per hour per private jet for one person. It's unconscionable. So when you engage in a debate with them, it becomes difficult because you ask yourself, what is the moral justification for they even talking? When you look at their record and you want to compare it to what we want to do for the people of Ghana, this is a president who flies commercial.
Yeah, so now he wants presidential.
You understand? No, hold on. This is a recommendation. And I was happy when I was reading because I wanted to refresh my memory. So I went back to the debate in Parliament, the initial debate in Parliament. And it was captured there. These aircraft are used by the military for the transportation of troops when they are going on peacekeeping. So they are put to other uses. Because I remember that issue very, very well when your Minister of Defense went to Parliament. It is not just for executive travel. Those aircraft are not just used for executive travel. Even for peacekeeping operations, they are used for it. You understand? So I'm challenging their ranking members on the Defense Committee to call for the justification, call for the value for money audits, among others. You yourself know that you can trust Dr. Atu Forson to be one of the most disciplined persons when it comes to the finances of this country. He will not use your money to dig $100 million cathedral hole. He will not do it. You know it. That the NDC government will not take $100 million and use it to dig a hole.
But Parliament gave approval for it.
Parliament approved 100.
But the Attorney General in the recent Supreme Court document says the payments were legal, they were lawful.
The payments, as in the fact that they were passed through Parliament. You understand?
Parliament,
but
everybody was there.
The exercise of discretion by your minister. So the budget has been passed. You sit down today and agree that this thing should go and use $100 million to dig a hole.
To build a cathedral.
You will agree.
To build they didn't just finish. And then you finish it, it will not be a hole.
It was meant for $1 billion.
It will be a beautiful place, and people will come. Bible garden.
Bible garden. I mean, you have to sit here.
Bible garden. Tourists will come.
That is why God rejected that project. That is why God rejected that project. You understand? I expect them to play their role in Parliament. You understand? By scrutinizing the documents as they come, putting it to a debate. But clearly, I mean, if we compare the record of the two parties, you yourself know that as you sit here today, the CD in your pocket is stronger than when it was last year. You know who are the better managers of the economy.
And yet prices are skyrocketing.
I mean, cardboard. You yourself, you know.
And yet prices are skyrocketing.
That you are in a better Ghana.
We see
you
it.
Feel it. You know it. That you are in a better Ghana.
On paper.
Oh.
The exchange you receive on paper.
My brother.
Why so?
I don't know.
My brother. It's the Ghanaian, isn't it? The Ghanaian who wants to profiteer.
I don't know what's happening.
Ghanaian who wants to
receive on paper, and we are not feeling it in our pockets. Yes.
I see. Let me take the concluding thoughts of Richard Kumado on this. Okay, so Richard Kumado is gone off. He will join us again for the discussion on the OSP. Yes.
Let me take the opportunity since Richard is not available. When my brother was making his earlier submission, he referenced that the MPP and its presidents are known for luxury and all of that.
Who? Me?
Yes, that is me. Forgetting that this current presidential jet was purchased by President Kufuor, and it does not have that freshening up facility in there.
But you said this
and does not qualify
at the time. You didn't
and does not qualify as a luxury presidential jet.
No, I said President Kufuor's luxury. See, there are differences.
You see?
The taste
you mentioned.
Oh, yes,
you said it.
I'm saying
you said it. And I'm saying that this presidential jet was purchased by President Kufuor.
Hold on. I said President Kufuor's luxury taste was for a presidential palace. I didn't talk about it.
He bought a jet.
Yes, and I said that for them, every president has something that is nuanced in taste. You understand? When it comes to the luxury.
So
President Kufuor had his for the presidential jet. President Nanado, the presidential palace. President Nanado loves to travel with luxury jets. You understand? And that is clear.
Let's make
$15,000 to $18,000 and our jets.
But has that been confirmed?
I think that.
But the black one was the one who put out all. They never disputed that. Those records.
I think that we need to be fair in the conversation, and as far as fairness is concerned, the president at the time was compelled to use.
Was compelled.
Indeed.
When their commercial flights to the center of Europe. In all, we have daily flights from British Airways.
Let him
Today, you sit here and talk about security considerations and all of that, and providing justification for the acquisition of 2 presidential jets plus 4 military aircraft at a whopping 13.1 billion. You provide that justification, and you don't see anything wrong with it. And this was a jet as recent as 2024. The NDC, then in minority, said that it was in pristine condition. Now, if this jet is in pristine condition, why then? What is the necessity for purchasing new ones? And not 1, but 2. 2 of them. And you go and sit down with Federation of Labor and tell them that I can only give you a pay rise of 9%.
I see. We'll take another break. When we come back, we'll look at the matters of the OSP, the corruption fight, and the matters arising. This is the big issue. We'll be right back.
Hey Ghana, so you people know Miss Brother once more. If you it's your boy. Kill them all. But this time, I'm not only killing mosquitoes, I am killing the grades. See? This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the perfect mosquito-free atmosphere. Thank you, Out Insecticide. And yeah, Out Mosquito Coil. For a mosquito-free atmosphere, trust Out to... You are not serious.
Out Insecticide. So ya boa, faha.
Christmas, my favorite time of the year. This festive season, Volta Serene Hotel invites you to experience the magic of Christmas and New Year like never before. From 20th of December to the 1st of January, step into a world of joy, music, laughter, and celebration. We begin on the 20th with a soulful carols night, filling the air with warmth and melody. Then, on 23rd and 24th of December, arrive in style as we welcome you with fresh coconuts and local treats. Christmas Day brings pure delight, exciting moments for kids, relaxing escape for adults, and an elegant all-white dinner under the stars, crowned with a spectacular fireworks display. On Boxing Day, embrace culture and rhythm, from picnics and traditional dance to an unforgettable high life and old school night. As the week unfolds, enjoy movie night, live music, karaoke, and endless fun, until we welcome 2026 with a breathtaking fireworks show on New Year's Eve. Special Christmas packages starting from 4,050 for individuals, 5,250 for couples, and 8,900 Ghana cedis for a family of 4 for 2 nights. Call or WhatsApp 0541 539 867 or 0362 025 243 to book your experience today. Volta Serene Hotel. Feel the serene touch.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
You're welcome back. This is The Big Issue. We are live on 97.3 City FM and on Channel 1 television, on YouTube as well. Just concluded a discussion on the jets, the push for new presidential aircraft and military aircraft. Minority not happy with it. Majority thinks it's great, whilst minority says it's a misplaced priority, etc. But my guest this morning, Nikwapo Samoado, member of the NDC Communications Team and a private legal practice, Nana Akwesiewa, former managing director, PMMC, which is now Gold Board, and is a private legal practitioner. Richard Kumado was on the program as well, and Justice Abdullahi has just joined. And before we move to the next subject, I'm sure he wants to have a bite at the issue of the presidential judge. Justice Abdullahi, private legal practitioner, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Yes, pleasure to have you as always. Yes. I don't know where you stand on this discussion on the jet. People think that it's a misplaced priority. You can't spend 13.1 billion cedis at this time on acquiring 6 aircraft, 4 purposely for the military and 2 for the presidency. Where do you stand on this? Are we ready for this? Is this a time to make such an expenditure?
All right, thank you, Salam. And my deepest regards to my colleagues in studio. I think so we need to put this in perspective. As a nation, we do not have any flights dedicated to our leaders, the president and the vice president. And the conversation to have one or not to should be had at one point in time or the other. For those who think, and I don't think anyone would deny the fact that we do need it, particularly considering the cost incurred during the Akufo-Addo administration, when consistently every time he had to travel out of the country, we had to go by either a chartered flight or some other means of getting to his destination. Whether one would like to describe it as luxurious or a humbling experience, I think is crucial, maybe in determining the cost implications and other things. But is it worth continuously going by a chartered flight or even a commercial flight when our president have to travel out of the country? I think this should be the basis for having this discussion, and not whether the timing is right or wrong, because there would never be a right time, particularly for us as a developing country. We may have to take this decision one way or the other at a point in time. And if taking that decision now is something that we can afford, I do not think that it's too much to ask if our president needs to have this on standby. That will not cost us further monies going forward, because in the long run we end up spending so much more if you go by a chartered flight, and then the inconvenience part of it also comes up. The risk of going for this chartered flight also comes up, because anybody who wants to target the president could easily target the president, as against having your own and doing your own monitoring and ensuring that at every point in time it is fit for purpose. I think it's important to put all these factors into perspective before we ask ourselves whether it is prudent to continuously rely on external persons to rent their presidential jet or have our own. Everyone, I'm sure, would conclude that it is easier and cheaper and safer to have your own than relying on a chartered flight. And so on the basis of that, in any given day, at any point in time in our lives as a country, I would support a call for or a decision to buy a presidential jet for our country than relying on borrowed one or rented ones. I think it's just the right thing to do. I mean, it doesn't help when you want to mix this with other difficulties we face as a country. Those difficulties, they are genuine, they are germane, they ought to be attended to. And I would definitely not discount the importance of paying labor well. I would never discount the importance of ensuring that all sectors of our economy are treated, appropriately. I support those calls, but I also support the need in protecting our president and in the need, in fact, in protecting our leaders, president or vice president, when traveling out of the country. And I think it's a balancing thing, and we need to accept that reality, that we have to do this and move on as a nation. Whether it's 4 we are buying or 100 we are buying, I still support that idea, because you can't have a military that is also not tooled enough to undertake its activities. We may be luckier that we are a country that is not constantly engaged in wars and other things, but it does not prevent you from tooling your security agencies for being ready, to make them ready for any eventualities. You do not wait until you are at the crossroads before you take certain crucial decisions. You need to take those decisions now. And if having aircraft is one of the means of tooling our armed forces, why do we have to wait till tomorrow? Is there any appropriate time to do that? There's never the right time for these things. The only time that I may probably agree to a right time will be where the economy is not sustainable to afford these kinds of things that are crucial for our survival. They are indeed crucial for our survival, for our protection, particularly if it's going to the army. And so if you play politics with these subjects and make it look like it is wrong at a particular point in time or the other, in fact, it couldn't have been a better time for me than now.
Yes.
And so,
a quick one. So I think the principle is what you've laid out, but there's politics at play as well. The argument is that in the past, it was opposed. Recent past, it was opposed. And the excuse was that there were roads to be constructed, there were people to be paid, people were suffering, etc. And this is not the time, that wasn't the time to buy a jet. Like you said, there will never be a better time. So now the coin is flipped. The guys who were making the argument that it was not a good time, and now the guys wanting to buy it, and the guys who thought that was a better time are now saying that, we have roads to construct, we have nurses to pay, etc. So there's politics at play. The principle is already laid out. How do we marry the two?
So I completely agree with you when you talk about the politics, the political part of it. But let me say this, so there is always politics in this, but the crucial part is not the politics. The crucial part is the procurement benefit. The entire public service relies on procurement, and the public servants enjoy the benefits that are tagged along when it comes to the benefits.
So it's a procurement discussion, but nobody's mentioning procurement.
Corruption.
It's a procurement discussion, but nobody's mentioning procurement.
So it is actually a procurement discussion. It's not a political discussion.
It's not a political discussion. It's a procurement discussion.
It's purely about, because there are benefits that come along with who buys it and how it is bought. This can never be discounted.
If you buy more, you get more. If you buy less, you get less.
In fact, who buys it gets the less or the more, as against who doesn't buy it. That is the fundamental thing that we need to recognize. We can't take it away. The second part comes in when you deal with the politics and the economy. Indeed, I don't think anyone, including my brother, but my brothers in studio, would disagree that the past 4 years has never been, in fact, the past 5 years has never been a good time for our economy. No one would disagree. As a matter of fact, anyone will tell you, including the former president, will tell you that because of certain circumstances, which the IMF has discounted anyway, i.e. the Ukraine war, all the attributes to why our economy was down. How could a person who accepts that the economy was so bad be thinking of buying a presidential jet? Now, relative to today, the story is completely different. Even a blind man knows that the economy is relatively better than what we had past 4 or 5 years. And so, if we have a relatively better economy, stable economy today, and you are thinking of buying it today, whether you want to play politics with it or play economics with it, I do not think that it really matters, because we all admit that we are in a far better situation economically today than we used to be even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and 4 years ago. And so if you want to take that decision today, irrespective of the economic or procurement benefits that it comes along with, I think that we are in far better time today than we were a couple of years back.
Very
and
well.
so, yes, there's a political part of it, there's an economic twist to it, and
there's a
all
procurement.
other
There's a procurement part to it.
Absolutely,
I
but
see. That's a new
you
twist.
cannot take away the fact that it's better today.
That's the major inarticulate motive. The one nobody is talking about.
It has to be recognized.
All right, good. That's just that, July. Now let's move to the OSP. I mean, Office of the Special Prosecutor has been in the spotlight this week over developments involving former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and 7 others. All 8 accused persons are expected to be arraigned on Monday, November 24, 2025. Prosecutors say they will also seek court orders to serve the charge sheet on suspects currently outside the country. In a related development, the OSP has dismissed reports claiming that Interpol removed a red notice issued for Mr. Ofori-Atta. In a statement issued on Wednesday, November 19, 2025, the office described the claims as, quote, mischief and misinformation, unquote, insisting that the alert has not been withdrawn. The clarification follows media reports alleging that Interpol rescinded the notice after reviewing the OSP's request, despite no formal charges yet being filed, no formal charges being filed against him yet. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, after a meeting with the OSP, has renewed calls for the removal of the special prosecutor, Kisi Ejabe.
The hearing couldn't go far because we raised some legal issues. There was an attempt to restrict me to one lawyer. So we pointed out to the officer who said so that, no, that's a very serious constitutional matter. You can't restrict a person who is being invited to appear before a committee to one lawyer. No, that's not our law. I started raising, especially the matter that for Ofori-Atta to leave Ghana with Kisi Ejabe stopping him, I smell something, okay? Right? And true, as we kept beating it in the public, finally you see that Kisi Ejabe came and confessed. That, look, let's not take that for granted. That's something big we should be looking at. That Ghanaians started, I'm not the only one. Many Ghanaians have been raising it, that they suspect something, and people were getting very upset and talking on the various media, social media, traditional media, etc. And finally, Kisi came to confess that, yes, I saw the man, except that I went here, I didn't get help, allegedly, because I've spoken with people and NIB people are denying. They're saying that Kisi didn't come to them for help. We'll come into the details when we get there, right? So there are other institutions that were named. We'll see. When it gets there, we'll see what they will also say. Our chief corruption fighter, at least on paper, the OSP is a specialized agency to deal with corruption. So he's the arrowhead. For him to see his key suspect, the crown jewel, right? The King Kong, going out of Ghana, and it didn't occur to him to come and do Ankwa Numa press conference part 2. It beggars belief, and it's something we will not let go. That alone is sufficient for Kisi Ejabe to leave the...
All right, so that's Martin Pebu, senior legal practitioner and a man who has struck many successes at the court, in the courts of Ghana, is now into some activism. In fact, he is the convener of the Kumi Prekun Reloaded demonstration and a few other things. He's been at some, I won't call it loggerheads, but with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He wants Kisi Ejabe removed because he thinks that Kisi is not doing the job as he ought to. Of course, the Office of the Special Prosecutor disagrees. He was at the office this week to provide some information about why he thinks Kisi and his people are corrupt. That conversation could not really start because of what you heard him say, some preliminary legal matters that were raised. And so we hope that, of course, he's been invited again, I guess. He will go and lay out his case as it is. Justice, let me start off with you. At the Office of the Special Prosecutor, you think the OSP is under pressure to perform, or you think it is just the normal way things must run? It does appear there's a lot of pressure on that office and its boss, Kisi Ejabe, to perform. And are they doing what they have to do?
Thank you, Salam. So, truthfully, it's difficult to be the head of the OSP at this point in time of our lives. It's been around, if you like, for a little over half a decade. I think we are probably in the 7th year or the 8th year. And it's natural that people start asking questions because its significance is not being felt as it was touted to be right from the onset. And so naturally, you would find pundits and indeed observers asking questions as to its continuous relevance within the scheme of our laws in the fight against corruption and other things. Because people do not see the real impact of the OSP. In fact, if you like, the last 10 months has rather shown that the Attorney General's office may be capable of performing the very task that it was assigned to it by way of the fight against corruption if it was appropriately tooled and appropriately motivated, rather than having a separate institution in the form of the OSP. Of course, needless to point out that what we are witnessing within the Attorney General's office is also mostly about previous government officials rather than current officials. And so, admittedly, if you want to play mischief, you can easily say that the Attorney General is not targeting or is not going after his own people. But the other side of the coin is that nobody within this government has so far shown or had been seen to be involved in any act of corruption or corruption-related offenses. So that can easily be thrown out. But we've seen more of the Attorney General than we see of the OSP. And so it is beginning naturally to irritate people as to why we had the OSP, because even right from the point of its establishment, coincidentally, it was also only going after previous government officials, and nothing really substantive was seen. And even if you read their reports, for 7 years or thereabout, nothing substantial, nothing decent relative to the amount of money we are spending on the office and all the positive vibes that were made of the office, particularly if you take the position of the former president and how he believed that this was going to be the missing link in the fight against corruption. Indeed, most of us supported that idea that the OSP was supposed to be the missing link in the fight against corruption. And you would always juxtapose this with what everyone else said, including the former Attorney General, Godfrey Dami, when he said that it's difficult to sit on the same dining table with your colleague and the next day parade them before the court for acts of corruption or corruption-related issues. And so having an independent person who does not sit in cabinet or does not have any relationship with of members of government was the easiest or is the easiest way to fight corruption in Ghana. And that principle, in fact, is not entirely wrong. It's actually still true because of who we are as people. Sometimes I think we are a bit more hypocritical than we should be. And so it makes it difficult to have the same people that you do everything with, fighting them in court. Which is why sometimes you'd find that even judges would recuse themselves when friends or relations appear before them, because we cannot be absolutely honest enough to deal with such situations. And so having the OSP, for me, was the missing link. Unfortunately, we are not seeing the impact of that missing link. And so when people start asking questions, when people start throwing stones at the office of the special prosecutor, it is genuine, and it is important that the office recognizes this and possibly take the boldest decision. And it's sad when you put the Ken Oforiatte saga into this whole mess, because we saw Ken around. These issues about SML in particular started way back when Manasseh started raising the issues, to the point where President Akufo-Addo even had to step in and commission independent auditors to go into the issues and all of that. All this time, I'm sure the issues were before the OSP. And we saw absolutely nothing, or if you like, very little being done to investigate or even prosecute the issues. I'm not oblivious of the difficulties one faces when you have an existing president or a government protecting its own. But it is also not true that you cannot do absolutely nothing within such a fierce environment if you really want to show your worth. And so, I mean, putting all these together, it's quite difficult for anyone at all, I mean, to score the OSP with any decent grade. Now, imagine the fight for the extradition of Ken when it started. The Attorney General continuously came out through Justice Side, that they have not received anything from the OSP. At the time, you have not even provided, you have not even had a charge sheet. And within private corridors, these discussions have been going on. Why do you even take these steps? No charge sheet, nothing, absolutely nothing about these persons that you suspect have committed corruption or corruption-related offenses. And you have absolutely no charge sheet. So there's nothing substantial for anyone to even make value judgments of these issues. And if you are desirous of extraditing the person to your country to answer charges, I think the fundamentals are quite simple. That the barest minimum, put the matter before court, and then let the rest flow from there. But it looks like most of the discussions were more of media engagement than active and real attention to what ought to have been done to get the person within the country. So we're enjoying more of the media attention, more of the if you like, put some idea of attempting to please the rest of us that something is being done, when in fact we do not see the impact of what was being done, if not something was being done at all.
Okay.
So in the end, my position is that the OSP has a lot to do to prove all of us wrong, that indeed it is fit for purpose, and that its continuous existence is crucial for the fight against corruption.
Talking about the impact of the OSP, he may not have been successful in putting anybody behind bars, but will you discount the fear factor? Of course, when Kissi was being vetted, he said his aim was to reduce corruption. He may not be able to eradicate it, but he'll make it an expensive venture to engage in. So when you're doing something, you know that the mere fact that you know that the OSP could come after you is some success. So for example, in his short time as OSP, at least he's investigated the amount of sitting ministers. Cecilia Dapa, okay, that matter came up. Never mind how it concluded, but he did some work. They understand he did some investigation around Atacha, but Atacha was vindicated. The Northern Development Authority, there is some ongoing matter there in respect of how some monies were used. So that was a sitting government agency that it was investigating and is continuing to investigate. The MC or DC who allegedly said he paid some monies to some people to vote him to become DC. He didn't win. That matter is still there, And a few other cases he has gone after, and some other things he's done, like the payroll audit of the payroll audit in the Northern region, where he collaborated with the Controller and Accountant General to save us some 34 million or so. All of these are things which people may say are successes. He may not have put anybody behind bars, but he might have succeeded in saving the country some monies and putting the fear I won't say the fear of God, but putting some fear in people. Is that not success as well?
So, this is it. When you are able to list alleged successes, it literally defeats the entire conversation and indeed the continuous existence of the OSP, because you should ordinarily not be able to list them. Ordinarily. You shouldn't be able to list these things. Ordinarily, you should be able to rather show, knowing the level of corruption in this country, how pervasive it has been, particularly within the public sector. It shouldn't be countable that you're able to tell us what has been done and what has not been done. Indeed, when you talk about saving us money, it is actually part of the functions of the OSP to to prevent, to be proactive in the fight against corruption. So it is so that the measurement is not really about convictions, securing convictions, and then sentencing people to prison. That is not how you measure this. Otherwise, you'll be completely wrong. Sometimes just the fact of prosecuting could even be of immense help. So I'm not even counting the successes of the OSP in relation to securing convictions of people that it has prosecuted. Neither am I counting it from any particular angle. I'm looking at this holistically for us to determine whether it's indeed worth our while. You see, if you relate the OSP to the Attorney General's office, which I did a while back, you can clearly understand why it should be doing more in the fight against corruption than any other institution within this republic.
But just a quick one. A quick one. Kissi is 3 years old at the OSP. When he came, when he came, the office had almost collapsed. Martin Amidu left. The office had almost collapsed. They came. They had to employ people, fill the spaces, everything, train the people, which took about a year. So effectively, he's been working for just about 2 years or 1.5 years. And
all right,
is that not to be considered in the analysis as well?
Respectfully, this discussion is not about. It's not judging Kissi as an individual. That's not what is happening here. What we are discussing is the office of the special prosecutor, not the officer in charge of the office. And so if you reduce it to Kissi, you may be missing the point. You may be missing the point.
I get the point. But yes, to be fair, but Kissi is becoming the embodiment of the office. Martin Amidu at some point was, but we know how it ended. He didn't spend much time there. He left. There was quite some lacuna before Kissi came. So Kissi, and in fact, Martin Amidu, with all his glory and his reputation and everything, you could put only one person, if my memory serves me right, before court, Mahama Yarega, in that ambulance matter, which never went anywhere. So Kissi is the man really moving the OSP. So that's why sometimes people, refer to the OSP as Kissi, even though it is the office. It shows that is how people see the office. He's the one embodying the office right now, and I think it's fair to say so.
Fair enough. However, you and I do not have that benefit of misleading or of that same connotation.
I get the point.
Yes. But so, other people can
great.
So the point is that I can understand you to be saying that Kissi hasn't spent much of the time. In fact, if you like, he has spent half of his time as tenure in the office. I think he's supposed to be about 7 years.
7 years.
And if he spent about 4 years, he still has about 3 years remaining. And so your position is that we should give him some slack because, of course, he literally had to babysit the entire office. I mean, the setup and all of that. I'll grant him that, and it is fair to say that. But my point is that looking at the entire circumstances of the office, the basis for setting it up, the rationale behind it, and what we are getting, is it value for money? This is what I want us to discuss. Should we still allow this office to continue in its existence, knowing that we may not get value for money? Or we should simply just overlook it and hope and pray that it gets better one day? That's all I'm asking.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Let me come to you. the office of Kissi and the office of the special prosecutor appear to be on some collision course with the AG. AG says they want some dockets from him. He's not making the dockets available. That is why they are unable to initiate the extradition and all of that. And now the red alert or the red notice that Kissi placed on Ken Ofori-Atta had been blocked now because Ken's lawyers have petitioned the Interpol to raise some matters to the extent that, it is political persecution because the AG's office doesn't appear to be agreeing with the OSP over some matters, etc. Those matters, to some extent, raise some prima facie matter, and so the Interpol have had to block the red notice so that the office of the special prosecutor will respond then they see where that goes. I hear that response has been made, and we are waiting for Interpol to come to a certain conclusion on whether to restore the red notice or not. This obviously doesn't paint a good picture, does it?
Well, the OSP is an independent office, so it is divorced of government. You know, they speak for themselves, and they are not under anybody's direction or control. What I would say is this: that office, I think, is a necessity because of the clear understanding that all of us have had as political parties and players, that it is difficult for a sitting attorney general to go after his own, you know, especially persons who sometimes he sits in cabinet with. You understand? I am yet to see an attorney general prosecute, let's say, the Minister for Finance in his own government, for example. It becomes difficult. You understand? Other than that, I'm sure then the minister, realizing the $90 million who would have initiated investigations into that, for example. You understand? So in such instances, or the SML issue, for example, it would have been difficult for the then sitting attorney general to go after his own brother in cabinet. So we came up with the concept that, look, under the vision of President Nana Akufo-Addo, credit to him for establishing the office, that there comes a time when we need to create an office that will deal with corruption and corruption-related matters, you understand? To the office, give it specific mandate, take some of the power from the Attorney General and give it to him so that he's an investigative person. He's also a prosecutorial authority on his own. And also to prevent corruption as well. Now, in respect of this matter, and I respected this on another network this morning, that I have not been impressed with the handling of the issues to do with the preparation of the docket and when it was ready. I felt that, look, if something is not ready, yes, the OSP is enjoined under their law to inform the public as to the progress of investigations, what they are investigating. They do that by way of their publication twice a year. But the practice normally is that if the docket is not ready, it's not ready. Look, U.S. investigators can take 5 years, 6 years, 7 years investigating one particular matter. In fact, the recent conviction of a gentleman for donating illegally to the campaign of President Obama. These investigations take years. Sometimes these fraud investigations that involve international, they can take 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It is when they are ready, the docket is ready, they are ready to make arrest, then they break the story. Or when they file the indictment, then they break the story. So when the issue of, and when you hear the OSP, even this morning, they will tell you that they issued the red alert to restrict the movement of Mr. Kata. But the point being that, look, at all material times, the Attorney General and other agencies, and at least the public communication that we've all had, was the impression that the OSP was the lead agency when it came to the investigation of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta in respect of, I believe, about 5 matters. Now, if you are the agency that is investigating the man for 5 major issues, other agencies are also investigating for other matters. But imagine that all of them try to move in for extradition at the same time. It literally would look confused. You understand? It will look like everybody is fighting in a space for, when at the end of the day, what you want is accountability. What you want is, so one agency obviously will be allowed to take the lead, bring the person in, and of course everybody else will then get to question the person. So at all material times, the impression had been that the OSP's investigations had gotten to the point where extradition was going to, because the red alert clearly was that if you get him, arrest him because he has questions that you want to answer. Then you moved in with a request for what? Extradition. That request for extradition did not come from the Attorney General. It came from the OSP. You understand? And that triggered the Attorney General's request for what? A docket, whether it is in a temporary form or it is in a completed form. And that is where we had these issues.
But their matter was that just around that time, they got leads into various aspects of
I understand that. Nobody does say that. That's why I said that. In all of this, would it not have been better? You understand? Then the issue of whether you should charge them, whether you can try them in absentia, all those issues came up. But for the public pressure, do you believe that we would have had these charges filed this month?
Why not?
Oh, please. I think that, look.
But what do you think?
My point, the
OSP doesn't want to proceed.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. My point is this. The OSP is a very important office. Its methodologies and things are laid down in law. My point is this. If the docket was not ready, perhaps there was no need to have even made any public pronouncements in respect of, because when you make those pronouncements, you drive expectation. You understand? Clearly, if you are going to receive further leads, because at the point when there was the reports about whether the dockets were ready or not came up, the obvious question was, is the docket ready or is not ready?
Yeah, so per the new findings.
No, the first letter that went, they say produce the docket.
Yes.
Whether in its temporary form or in.
But they said they couldn't produce in the temporary form because there were other persons or other things in it there that the AG didn't necessarily have to see or need.
Why?
The matter was in respect of Ken Ofori-Atta. There were other things in there.
But you are prepared a docket in respect of. So give him what is needed for him to be able to trigger, because his point was that without a docket, he could not do the extradition process. So my point is simple. If the thing was not ready, it was not ready. That's been that's the only point where I have a difficulty with the way communication and handling.
So you think they spoke too early?
They spoke too early. I think that if they had waited, filed the charges that they have now with everything ready, and then let the public know that we are ready.
But you think even as they are working, there's public pressure. So maybe 10 months.
But you say you shouldn't be moved.
Nobody's hearing about Ken.
Hold on, you shouldn't be moved. The thing is this: if your investigations are not complete, they are not complete. Because when you do that, you fuel unnecessary public discourse about on motives which are unrelated. My point was that, look, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is not the only suspect that the OSP has to deal with. If they are not ready, they're not ready. And if you tell the Ghanaian people that you are investigating, until your investigations are complete, you are not in a position, you understand, to deal with issues of red alert, what have you. You are not ready. You understand? It means that you are not ready. And nobody can push you to do something premature. Because when you move before you are ready, what then happens is that these are the difficulties you meet. And you explain and explain and explain. You understand? You give your version. Oh, the red alert is there. The red alert is not there. But the point is simple. It's either the red alert is operational or it's not operational. I don't see any middle ground in this issue as to the fact that the red alert is there, but you cannot see it.
No, so he said
there's too many explanations.
It's been redacted.
Have you seen redacted red notice? Do you know of a concept called redacted red notice?
But we know that the Interpol.
And so unless listen, the point is this: you are dealing with a suspect that is literally the crown jewel of all the investigations you are doing. The law is that everybody is deemed equal before the law, blah blah blah. But there are suspects that are of supreme public interest because of the. So when you are handling their matters, unless you are ready, you don't move. You don't. Nobody should push you to the point where.
But Ken Ofori-Atta, for example, we understand there are many things.
You need to ignore. You should learn how to ignore some of these comments from the public. You don't need to react to.
Yes.
I'm saying there's this edge that everything that is said in the public triggers a response from the OSP.
Yeah, but
somebody says that
the other point is that
you must learn how to close your ears.
Yes, especially if you are an investigating body.
Close your ears to some of these things.
The other point is that the AG can do its own investigations in respect of other cases. It has
duplication of rules.
No, I mean not on the same things.
So you are investigating, but the point
not
is
on the same
you
things.
do not want to appear. You understand? To be interfering with.
No, not on the same thing.
So here is the part. This is a suspect. He is a suspect in multiple investigations.
But outside of the multiple set of investigations, there are other things I'm looking for.
He is suspect in the multiple investigation. You have the lead agency specially created by statute to deal with corruption and corruption-related matters. If that agency is out there telling the public that we have 5 cases, one of which is the biggest of all is the SML. You understand? We have ready. We have this information, we have this information. That becomes you don't want, because remember, if you appear to also want to go after him, not that you are also not doing your investigations, but if you appear to the word will definitely be interfere. If you take any steps that clash with the steps taken by the OSP, everybody will say, oh, you are trying to interfere with them. You must give them the space to do what they are doing. So when you say that, look, you are now in a position where you want to extradite the person, and then the agency, the national agency responsible for extradition, tells you that without a docket, I cannot do the extradition. You understand? Where is the docket? Whether half docket or full docket, bring me a temporary docket or a completed docket, then you are caught hanging. You understand? Then the defense lawyers keep repeating this point that there was no charge at the time you issued the red notice. What had you charged the man with at the time you issued the red notice? Had you placed the charge sheet before a court? Had you charged him with a crime? Or you were just suspecting that he had committed a crime? You understand? So those were the critical questions that were being asked. And now with this issue of the red alert, blah, 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 you have a problem. You have to explain and explain and explain. That's what our problem is. Imagine that the OSP said nothing. It says he was simply investigating. He had not completed his investigation. Then we are now in November. For the first time, the OSP has completed its filed the charge sheet. It's ready. It's now notifying, because you have to formally notify the accused persons and provide them with copies of their charge sheet. You go to court, you do your application. Whatever mode the court grants you to serve them, you serve them. You understand? Now you can go to court and declare them fugitives because they have been notified. After satisfying the notification requirement, if they refuse to come to the court to answer to the plea, to take their plea, then the basis is now set for you to declare them as fugitives. That is, in my opinion, a cleaner, pathway. You understand? Than to say I'm restricting his movement here and the person is a suspect. So far as your investigations were not complete, you had, in my opinion, no business rushing it. Because at the end of the day, we all want a situation where we learn from best practices. The investigative agencies in other countries can suspect you, can be a suspect on their list. They will allow you to go in and out of their country. When they are ready to pounce, they pounce. Look at the MP that was dealing in cocaine, for example. Okay. How many times did the U.S. authorities not allow him to move in and out of the jurisdiction? It is when the evidence was complete and they were ready to pounce, then they made the public announcement and they grab you. You understand? The fact that you are monitoring him, you're an intelligence agency as well. You know his movement, you know where he. So you keep your cards to your chest. I just feel that the OSP, as a developing institution, must also develop a thick skin in a way that does not always appear to react to everything that is. Because there are agent provocateurs in there. Defense lawyers and others will provoke you. They will say things to provoke you. It doesn't mean you always have to react to everything that they say. No. That is only part than that they are doing a good job. For us, for me as a citizen, the way they keep trying to, bring out these cases and roll them out, they will not get 100% record. No agency, no government prosecutorial team ever gets 100% conviction record. It's not possible. But the fact that people will be put to court and will be given their day in court, the charges and the facts and the things that they have done in terms of the charge sheet, those are things that as citizens we must be proud about, that we are building an institution. So they should not be overly sensitive to criticism. You understand? They should take some of the criticism on board and learn from best practices.
I see. Nana, yes, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, you think that they are not, I won't say sleeping on the job, but that's the accusation, that they are not vigorous, or they are not rigorous in this matter of Ken Ofori-Atta. The fact that they took so long to bring out the charges, the issue about the red notice and everything. What's your thought around that? You think the office is doing a good job following the rules, or you think it could have been better?
Thank you, Salom. Let's go back to basics. It should not be lost on us that the office was created under President Akufo-Addo, and there was good reason why he created that office. Indeed, I recall that when it was mooted that such an office, when the bill was introduced, I recall granting an interview in which I stated my position originally, that I thought that it was superfluous. Superfluous because I felt that instead of setting up a whole new office, why not retool for purposes of today's conversation. For purposes of today's conversation, retool existing anti-corruption institutions in order to perform that duty. And so I recall that conversations about decoupling the office of the Attorney General from the Ministry of Justice, and then providing security of tenure for the Attorney General, and all those conversations came up. But in the wisdom of the President and his cabinet and the government at that time, the Office of the Special Prosecutor was duly created. And indeed, the office was also supported. In fact, over the years, the office has received support. It must not be lost on us that it is a very nascent institution as far as our anti-corruption institutions are concerned. And so if you look at the raison d'etre behind the establishment of the office, I believe that at this point in time, it is too early to be calling for the scrapping of the office entirely. And because, as you rightly acknowledged, since the establishment of that office, there has been only two holders of that office. The first was Honorable Martin Amidu, and then the second is who we have now, Hissy Ejabing. And so if you look at all of that, I think that to be able to come to the conclusion that the office is no longer needed, there's the need for some monitoring and evaluation, an M&E analysis to ascertain, one, what were the objects for creating the office in the first place? Two, have these objects been achieved? What have been the hindrances? What have been the challenges? Is it necessary to continue, or do we deal with it? How do we approach solving or resolving the issues surrounding the Office of the Special Prosecutor in order to make it more efficient? I think that these are conversations that we need to have. But I must sound a caution that as far as the SML matter is concerned, because it's a sub judice, I will be limited in my commentary on that, simply because it is still in court. But we must know that, going back to basics, democracy is not an event. Democracy is a journey to collective prosperity. And for us in the MPP, we like to refer to it as inclusive prosperity. Now, one of the key pillars of any democracy is the rule of law. And one of the major enemies to any democracy is corruption. And so anything that fights against democracy and that journey to arrive at inclusive collective prosperity needs to be dealt with. And I believe that it is within that context that President Akufo-Addo saw the need for the creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. But we must bear in mind that that office is ultimately subject to the Constitution and the key pillar of democracy being the rule of law. And so anything that is done or carried out from that office should be within the confines of the rule of law. At this point in time, as far as the SML case is concerned, we've seen since February, we've seen a lot of things that have happened. A lot of things that have happened. It appears that there is some media trial going on, which has planted in the minds of the general populace that the persons who have been charged and put before the court are already guilty of the offenses that they've been charged with because of the alleged media trial that has happened since February. That is what it appears now. But we must not lose sight of the fact that the rule of law is something we must all hold dear. And the fact that we should all be presumed innocent before proven guilty is something that should equally not be lost on such a specialized institution as the OSP. And so, insofar as the operations of the OSP are concerned, and in relation to the SML, I would say that, yes, if genuinely they are fighting the cause of eradicating corruption and all of that, by all means, let's support it. We should all support it. However, if there are indications as if this is political witch hunting, then I do not think that we are being fair.
In the case of Ken, you think it appears like it's political witch hunting?
I wouldn't say that it appears so. I'm saying that if the conduct of the OSP makes it look like that,
but as his conduct in this matter,
now, because you raised the issue of the Interpol red notice. It's been challenged as we speak. It has been removed, but he says it has been redacted. But whether it's been redacted or removed is a different conversation altogether. So it makes you wonder, why then was a red notice requested for in the first place?
Because they wanted to restrict his movement. Because we hear
when you haven't completed investigations yet.
Because they wanted to get him into town. Because that has been challenged as well. That why do you need him? He could decide to come and even keep quiet. So you don't need him. Just go ahead, do what you can do.
Precisely the point. I recall the calls for charging him in absentia. I recall the OSP's responses to that. But today, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is not in Ghana, but he's been charged.
So why didn't you do this long ago?
Earlier.
But they hadn't concluded the investigation. They said they were almost done.
So if you had not concluded, why did you take those steps? That is the question. Why did you take those steps? So it is not surprising, therefore, to see my senior Martin Pebu calling for the removal of the OSP. It is not surprising.
You think he should be removed?
But so let me find out. Let's find some clarity here. Is Martin calling for a total scrapping of the office, or he's calling for the removal of the person who holds the office?
I think he's calling for the removal of Kisi, not scrapping.
Not scrapping the office, which means that he understands that that office is necessary and is doing a good job, or it can do a good job.
I don't think I've heard him talk about the office as in not being necessary. I think it's the person.
Indeed. So if that is the case, question then becomes, if such allegations are made against the office holder, would it be prudent for that office holder to be investigating itself? Mind you, under the OSP Act, they are not subject to anybody's control or direction. But Parliament has ultimate oversight responsibility over the OSP. And so Parliament is the one that could check on the OSP. So this invitation of Martin Kpebu to come and I don't understand.
No, Martin had made a claim that the guys were corrupt. So if you say I also investigate stuff, so come and let me.
I also investigate corruption.
Yes, so you're investigating myself.
But exactly,
no, you
the
said
point.
you have information. Let's see.
Exactly. So what is the OSP going to do with that information? Investigate itself with that information?
I get a point though.
Precisely. So as far as the office is concerned, I believe that the rationale behind the creation of that office, which was conceived by President Akufo-Addo, was good rationale.
But it's not being played out well.
Precisely. And I think it's early days. It's too early.
Mm.
It's too nascent an office to scrap. Too nascent an office to scrap at this point. So we need to take our time.
But have you been impressed? I mean, so the last comment. Have you been impressed with the workings of the office so far?
It is too early for
I think
me.
but it's almost 10 years.
Yes.
I think there's a deterrent effect that office
I agree.
is instilling in people now.
I agree with you on that.
And to a large extent in the fight against corruption. I think that's important.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you entirely on that.
For setting it up.
Yes.
I agree with you on that because even the establishment of the office sent waves. It sent waves. And this is an office holder, the special prosecutor, enjoys security of tenure. So no government has control over it.
Great. Let me take the final views of Justice on it. Justice, are we ever going to see Ken in Ghana? Are we ever going to see him in the process? Tradition is quite a difficult one. Godfrey Dami tried it with Sedinam Ationu. Till date, I'm not sure anything has been done about it. That's Godfrey Dami who tried and secured conviction for a person. He tried it, but it's not been successful, so still nothing has been happening. It's been years, or it's been about a year or two. Can we go through this process and get Ken to Ghana?
I have every conviction that if we are determined to get him to Ghana, we will. I mean, particularly looking at the sort of relationship we have with the U.S. administration on extradition and other matters. We have been playing nice balls with them. They always get what they want in Ghana. We give them people, we give them property, everything that they request for. I think Ghana has shown that level of consistency in granting the request of the U.S. administration, allowing them into our territories and do all kinds of things. I think it was just fair and right that if we have similar requests, they also accord us the same level of respect and then reciprocate what we do to them, for them. To that extent, I believe that once we push strongly our case, within the confines of the law, we would be able to get both persons into Ghana. Mind you, this will not be the first time, even though in the past we have had other transactions with the U.S. government by way of exchanging of people from across the boundaries of the two countries, particularly if I remember, I think this was in the 80s and all of that. But that is a different subject for discussions. But with respect of this, I think that once we lay the cards there and able to show that indeed these are people who genuinely need to come to Ghana and face the law, I think I see nothing wrong in the grants and of that level of application. But having said that, my question is, what is so difficult, particularly in relation to Ken, if he genuinely believes that he hasn't done anything wrong? What is wrong in coming to Ghana and defend himself if he has not?
But he said it's not well. He said it's not well.
Naive. I mean, we all know. What that means. That story has turned out to be completely false. Looking at the recent event, but we can discount that. My point is that that we have known in Ghana over the years. I have difficulties accepting why he doesn't want to come and respond to the allegations that are being made against him. I understand what me is saying, but honestly, Ken's issue is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Because, he had shown, this is a man who called himself the father of Ghanaians.
Yes.
And I find it so difficult to appreciate the difficulties or the challenges of coming here. For several reasons. First, because he believes in the rule of law of Ghana, and I'm sure three of us, luckily, coincidentally, happen to be lawyers, and we all believe in the fidelity of our laws by way of the prosecution of persons and all of that, and that this will never be. And I can bet my last life on it, that this is not going to be a persecution of an individual who has not done anything.
Great.
If it is going to be a prosecution,
yes.
That means you have a chance of exonerating yourself.
Great. My time. Yeah. No. My time is up. So, yeah. So you wanted to make a point in 2 seconds. Two seconds.
I think that I am struggling to see why Honorable Ken must necessarily be in Ghana.
Because there's a provision for trying him in absentia.
Precisely.
Great. So
and
we have to
besides, in civil procedure, in recent times, our civil procedure rules was amended precisely.
But do we have that for criminal?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
But this is not civil, this is criminal.
This is criminal, but why can't such a provision?
But that's amending the law. That's a longer route just for
That's
Ken.
procedural rules.
Yes, but we have to amend. For now, we don't have it. All right, so we have to go.
What's so special about Ken?
Yeah, so
Victor Salome was in Ghana, Kwame Pepra was in Ghana, Kwesi Botwe was in Ghana. Every other person who has held every other person who has held the position.
No, but he said it's not well.
He's not well.
And he informed us before.
Victor Salome was well.
But he informed us he was leaving.
No, Victor Salome, who was in the US, who was brought down.
Thank you so much.
Well.
That's Ni Pakpo Samoa Ado, Nana Akwesi Ewa, private legal practitioner, Ni also private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullah, private legal practitioner. My guest today, have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Truth or cliche? Is sauerkraut really that popular in Germany? Charming or unaffordable? What's life like for young people in Portugal's capital, Lisbon? Wearable or impractical? Why is this researcher designing clothes made from mushrooms? All that and more coming up now on Euromax. Have you ever tried sauerkraut? A long-standing tradition in German cuisine, especially as a side to hearty meat dishes. This fondness for the food has also inspired a nickname for Germans in the English-speaking world.
Did you know that this vegetable is why Germans are called krauts in English slang? But is sauerkraut really Germany's favorite dish?
I really like it, but I only know it from before.
I'm not crazy about sauerkraut. I don't eat it often.
I love it. It's delicious and healthy.
I don't think I've eaten sauerkraut since I was a kid. Next, we'll show you how sauerkraut is made, what it's eaten with, and of course, how Germans came to be called krauts. But first, let's head to Dithmarschen, near the North Sea coast in northern Germany. On these 3,000 hectares, 90 million heads of white cabbage are grown a year. That's more cabbages than there are Germans. White cabbage is traditionally important because it keeps so well. Many varieties can be stored until the next crop the following summer. Farmer Carsten Müller grows organic cabbage.
In the past, there was no need to transport it because everyone grew their own cabbage in their gardens. Small towns were supplied from the surrounding area. But these days, cabbage is grown where it thrives best. Dithmarschen is the largest single cabbage-growing region in Germany or even Europe.
Nearby at the Colosseum, you can see how the white cabbage becomes sauerkraut. First, the stalk is removed and the cabbage is grated. Sauerkraut is a product of fermentation, and this is how it's done. Salt